do. Yeah, my guest today, I know you as a VRChat streamer mostly, but also a VRChat interviewer, VTuber interviewer. You've been streaming for God. I don't even know. Ever since I've been playing VRChat, I feel like I've been watching you stream since like I don't know. What I guess that was one of my first questions for you. So I know you as a VRChat streamer and interviewer. How would you describe your content and like what you do?
So just the way to describe my content is that I'm mostly known as like a talk show host, someone who organizes events and stuff like that. So to be more in depth than what I'm trying to say is that when I first started playing VRChat, that was December of 2017,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very, very long time ago.
Yeah,
Almost
God.
5.5 years ago almost. So that was a
Gosh,
very long time
yeah.
ago. And during that time, I wasn't a talk show host. I was just sort of like some dude that would just run around VRChat and pretend to be a hillbilly, and that was it. It wasn't this avatar, which we'll go more into depth later on. But
Yeah.
to describe my content, I do interviews in VRChat. I've done almost 300 interviews in the last 3 years. So I'm
Yeah.
mostly known for being the interviewer guy or talk show host. However, in more recent time, I've started doing other types of content. For example, I ran an avatar showcase. I've done three
Mm-hmm.
since last October, and they've been very successful. So an avatar showcase is like a fashion show, basically. You have people walk up and down a catwalk, and all the avatars are for sale. So like Gumroad models, booth models,
Mm-hmm.
and we have people that walk up and down the catwalk, like professional like modelers, I guess, you know. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, and then you ogle the avatars, and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool avatar. Here's some money, you know. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Honestly, I feel like avatar creators should showcase their work like
Yeah,
that
I
more
mean,
often.
I'm the one who's running the event, so they just gotta
Yeah.
slide in my DMs,
Slide
and
into
we'll
Rebel
get
C.
you. Yeah, like 100 kilometers an hour. Just gotta slippery
uh,
slide right in there.
did
We'll
you
get you in.
what was your idea behind that? Was there like a motivation for you behind wanting to do that? Do you like avatar shows, or you just kind of had the idea and
So it started over like 2 or 3 years ago.
yeah.
So essentially, I'm mostly known for doing talk shows, right? Interviews, and I still have fun with them. That's why I'm here now and enjoy talking to people. However, you can't do the same thing for 50 years and still expect to be like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. You gotta
Yeah.
try new things.
Yeah.
And the idea when I first got my world commissioned by Legends almost 3 years ago was I wanted to have multiple sets and multiple different types of content later on. One of them was to have a showcase, and so 2, 3 years ago, I actually ran a showcase. It wasn't very like successful in terms of like viewers or people showing up because I didn't have a proper like system or way to do it. I kind of just like what do you call it? Just winged it. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I still had fun with it, but you know, that was like the initial like that was cool. Then I was like, okay, so how do I make this better? So then it took me about a year and a bit to like commission someone because I don't make worlds anymore. I used
Yeah.
to like get a proper world, get proper camera set up, getting all these things. Like, so it was a very long waiting period for me to finally do what I wanted to do. And when I did it, it was very successful. When I did my showcase in October, I had 400 people watching my stream,
Oh
2,000
wow.
on Crumpet's stream. December, similar thing, and then in April as well, just like what, like 2 weeks ago. So, it was a long process of wanting to do it. And the reason why I wanted to do showcases was because a lot of people work on avatars in VR chat.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, make avatars on Gumroad or custom commissions or booth or whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to have a place for them to showcase because right now, the only way to showcase an avatar is either A for a streamer or B like VCAT. And I don't know what else,
Right.
but like that's basically it. And when you go to like VCAT, it's kind of like overwhelming. Like I'm sure you,
Oh
I, and
yeah.
other people in the chat have been to VCAT, and it's kind of just like, what's happening? You're like, what? There's just too many things going on to really examine everything. And some avatars are hidden, behind like a closed door or something like that. It's very like overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I was like, how do I do that but better and cheaper?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just one guy. I'm that one
Right.
rebel. I'm one dude. Okay, I don't have like a team of like 30 people running VCAT. I don't have that resources. So I started to think, I should do this type of thing. And before I did my showcase in last October, so it'll be October 22nd, or sorry, October of 2022, not 22nd, sorry, October 2022, a year prior to that, so 2021, Castle, who worked for me to develop my world, he DM'd me because I told him about all my ideas like way in advance. I was like, hey man, I want to do like a showcase one day, and I told him all these like ideas for my world. And he's like, "Hey, I have a friend named Heather that runs a club called Club Rebellion. By the way, that nothing to do with me, even though my name's Rebel." And he was like, "Yeah, there's a person called Heather that wants to do like a showcase type thingy, kind of like what you wanted to do. Do you want to help with it, or like, maybe you could like interview some of the creators?" And I was like, yeah, I could do that. So I was brought on to be like kind of like I don't know, part of like the meetings, what do you call it, like an advisor? Yeah, I was like an
Yeah.
advisor. So I was there, talked to Heather, and I wasn't really part of like the organization of it. I was just there to just stream the event because there's no other streamers. They were streaming this like event. Rob or Rafflegator was streaming it as well, but that was kind of like a last minute thing. So he ended up streaming it, and I streamed it as well. I had 100 something viewers because I did a podcast just before that, so we had people hyped up for it. And the event went pretty well, all things considered. They had like a dozen avatars, 6 or 7 different creators. It wasn't exactly the way I would run it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my event, but it gave me the ideas to like be like, okay, what works and what doesn't work. So I wrote down to myself like, hey, this worked, this didn't work, and then fast forward a year later, I ran my own, and it was hugely successful. So I got like experience from helping someone else
Yeah.
running a showcase.
That's awesome. I'm really looking. Do you know when the next one's gonna be?
So the next one's probably gonna be in July,
Okay.
July of 2023. So it'll be for the summer. If you don't know, summer's June 21st, and my birthday's June 22nd. That's how I remember. So
Okay.
yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
is the summer is summer the same every year? Is it July or June 21st every
yeah.
year? Oh, it is.
Usually, yeah. Usually,
Okay.
each season, maybe it's different, yeah, by a day or two, but typically it's usually the same, at least as far as I can remember. Same thing with like fall. Fall is September 22nd. My mother's birthday is the 23rd, so that's how I
Oh,
remember.
wow. That's pretty.
So, yeah,
Did
that's
you
how I remember. Yeah.
did you celebrate your mom's birthday with you when you were a kid? Did you have like one party?
What?
You said your mom's birthday is the 23rd, right?
Yeah.
And yours is the 22nd?
No, her birthday is September
Oh,
23rd.
September 23rd. Okay,
Yeah, my
okay.
birthday is June 22nd. That's like
June
several
22nd.
months
Yeah, I
different.
was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah. Okay,
I
that's
was like, huh?
right.
I was like, I was so confused. I was like,
I
you
was
telling me I
confused.
don't celebrate my mom's birthday? That'd be
No.
pretty bad. I'm like, damn, I'm the worst son ever.
No, no.
Jeez.
Some people don't, you know. Some people are all about not doing
To each their own, you know. I celebrate my mom's birthday.
that. That's awesome. So I guess that's what you're working on right now. Do you have
Yeah.
any projects that you're working on besides that right now? Because you said you were
hmm
thinking about doing some other stuff too.
Oh, give me one second. I'm gonna put some
Yeah,
music on for myself, some lo-fi
sure.
hip hop.
Yeah, that
There
sounds
we go.
good. I usually save this
There we
question
go.
for the end, but since we're talking about what you're working on right now, it's
Hey,
kind
I'm
of a
ready.
good
Okay, so your
segue.
question was, what am I working on, like in terms of projects for like the
Yeah, I mean
future?
outside of this,
Outside the
yeah,
showcase.
and then
So
we'll
I have
go
a
back to your
couple. So
past.
so I have a couple ideas. One
Okay.
of the things I've been wanting to work on for the last little while is that I want to become more of a live 2D VTuber. So yes, I'm classified
Mm,
as a VTuber,
yeah,
and I do mostly VRChat stuff. And it's been almost 5.5 years of doing that. So I want to
yeah.
start doing like desktop things. And I play like Resident Evil 4 Remake, whatever. But my idea is to debut as a live 2D and then
Mm,
take my talk show to desktop and then interview people over Discord. If you ever watched, like, I give a good example, probably your chat would also be like, oh, yes, I know that. Is Iron Mouse. She runs a show called Speak of the Devil, where she has like a 2D, background, and she's sitting behind the desk, and then someone's sitting on the couch. Basically like that, but
mm-hmm.
me doing it in my own
Cool.
way.
cool. That's
getting
awesome.
a live 2D model and everything, and
Yeah.
doing that. And when I'm not doing that, then I'll be playing like your Minecraft or whatever. And maybe once a week I'll hop in VR chat in my swimsuit and bounce around, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of VR chat, I guess I'll go all the way back to the beginning. I don't actually know this, but I remember watching you so long ago. I think I told you I first I was watching when Artsy was coming up, like back in
hmm
2018 or something. And I guess I'm curious, like, how did you first get into VR and like VR chat in general, and like,
hmm
and yeah.
Sir, so how I got into VR chat is a long drawn out story, but I could explain it as fast as I can.
It
So,
doesn't have to be fast. I'm
oh,
kind of
okay.
curious.
I'll slow it down. I'll ease off on the gas. So,
Yeah, take it
essentially,
away.
how I found out was early December of 2017. The reason how I found out was because I there was a subreddit that's very popular still to this day, and it's very drama heavy, so be careful if you want to go on there. But it's called LSF, or live stream fails. It's basically where everyone their mom goes like, "Oh my God, I can't believe the streamer said this."
Yeah.
But before that, it was a very drama heavy subreddit. It used to just be about like PUBG car flips and H1Z1 and like fail clips and like, haha, that was funny. The computer
Hmm.
exploded, hee hee, or whatever failure thing. So at the time, it was mostly like PUBG and like Shroud just killing people in PUBG and getting 30 kills. It was kind of like, yeah, he's cool, whatever. But then I started seeing VRChat clips, and then one of them was from Poke or Pokelaws. He still streams to this day, not VRChat, but doing other things. And it was clips of him playing VRChat, just running around Publix. Like there's quite a few popular clips you can find still to this day. One of them is where he went to a Fells Memorial, a really old map, and it was a public. Two people are at the altar, just sort of like one's a desktopper and then one's in VR, and he like goes to like kiss her, and then he just goes gay, and then the girl starts laughing like hysterically, and then he just runs away. He's like, "Yo, this place is weird, man." And he just leaves. And there's other clips where like it's funny because the other clip I'm about to mention is before this where he was about to kiss Evolved Ant. Evolved Ant is a world creator. He's mostly known for making that fishing world and like back in the day, Sword Art Online, a really old version of it, and Star Fox 64 or something like that. Really old
Hmm.
maps.
Yeah.
And so he played like Kiss Me like a song or something like that, and he like
Yeah.
his eye was like slowly closed, and he goes in for the kiss to like poke, and then some anime girl just walks up and does this, and then he gets cucked. And that's the whole clip.
I
And I got like
see.
a million views. So people are like, "Whoa,
A
what
lot
the
of people
hell?
like
He's
that.
about to get kissed by his anime girl dream, and then he gets cucked." It's funny because later on does like that thing, gay, when people are about to kiss. It's funny. So anyway, throughout like the early December, his clips would pop off like almost every day. There's two or three clips from Poke, Diarist, Strippin, and a few others. Or Soda Poppin was playing as well. And I saw that and I was like, what the hell is this game? Like, what is this? And I was just like, this is crazy. Like when I first saw it, I thought it was like Gmod. I thought it was like Gmod but VR. Is the best way
Hmm.
to describe it.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is really cool. And I didn't realize that the game you can play in desktop. So it didn't take me until December 10th to actually get into VR chat and to actually start playing because I didn't have VR. I didn't get VR until January of 2018. So I played in desktop mode, and here we are, almost 5.5 years later. So
Yeah.
that's how I got into
Uh,
VR.
how did you? I mean, like, what were your initial experiences in VR? Like, did you fall in love with it right away? Did you? Was there a learning curve?
So basically, so another before VR chat story, I used to be a YouTuber. So I started when I was 17. I'm 27 now, for frame of reference, and turned 28 this year. And when I was 17, which is in 2012, I was my senior year of high school, and I wanted to be like a YouTuber, just like everybody else wanted to be like, I'm the next PewDiePie or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
And I just make like random Let's Play videos and goof off or whatever. This is 5 years before VRChat, and I would make some videos. I made like 1,300 videos. Didn't really
Oh God.
go anywhere. Yeah, I had a lot of experience talking to myself 10 hours a day. Let's just say that. So that will later
Yeah.
play into me being a talk show host. See, experience.
Yeah. It adds up.
So I did that for about 5 years doing YouTube, and I only had like 4,000 subs. I still use the same YouTube channel from 10 years ago. I just privated and deleted all the videos because not because I did anything bad, is because the videos don't reflect what I do now. Like I'm a VTuber, I'm an anime girl. Like back then I was just like, hey guys, let's play Minecraft Part 1. Wow, I'm cutting some trees, bro. It's pretty lit. Or I'll play in a lot of like public servers. I used to play Gmod Trouble in Terrorist Town. So that was like the main stick that I did.
Yeah.
And I got a few thousand subs because of that game mode. And a lot of times, this is in 2012, people would say some very edgy jokes. Now, I don't condone any of that behavior. I never say any of those things, but other people would. And I just didn't care. I was just like, haha, whatever. But if I was to play those clips now, people are gonna be like, you know, because
Yeah. Right.
it's just like playing Xbox Live back in the day, 15 years ago. People say a lot of weird stuff. So,
Yeah.
anyway, so what was the question again? Or like,
Yeah, no,
I'm going on a
yeah.
tangent.
No, I want to hear it. Yeah, you don't have to rush. Yeah, I want to hear it all. Well, the question
Oh,
originally was just like, what were your initial impressions, like
oh,
getting
my
into
initial impressions. Right, right,
VR
right, right,
and
right,
like
right.
how?
I remember now. I remember now.
Yeah.
So yeah, the reason why I explained that behind the story was because I used to be a YouTuber, right? So my
Yeah.
initial thoughts was this is content. That's the answer to the
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
So I was like, this is a content machine. Like, oh my God, you see like Goku from Dragon Ball Z, and you see like Bart Simpson, and you see like a JoJo character, and you see some random Miku girl like T-posing. Like, what the hell? Like
Yeah.
that writes itself, you know? So when I
Yeah.
first started playing VRChat, I was recording everything actually. I never really released these videos ever, or like recordings, because they were 6 to 8 hours long. I still have them on my
Yeah.
external hard drive. Now, I did eventually release some of them, like 3 years after they were recorded. Nobody cared because it's like not relevant anymore. They're like, wow, that's just a time machine, like a time capsule. But it was basically me in desktop mode, just running around Publix and like just like observing like weird stuff. Like I remember like seeing like gang wars in like December of 2017, where like everyone was like the default alien avatar, and like one dude had like VR, and he was just like with his finger, he's like, I'm gonna probe you. I'm an
Oh God.
alien. Alien gang or no gang, bro. And like other people are like, yo, I'm part of the Snake Legion, bro. Yo, Solid Snake for life. And other people are like, Rainbow Gang, Rainbow Gang. And I'm like, bro, what the hell is this game? Everyone's like ganging up on people and starting turf wars and like raiding each other and being like, alien gang or no gang, bro. I'm gonna probe you. Woo. And just walking up to people and going like, I don't know. I was like, this game's weird, but it's funny.
Yeah. Fair enough. And you've been streaming it since, I mean, so you're creating content already. Like, were you streaming on Twitch before then, or were you like?
So before VRChat, I did stream occasionally, like once in a blue moon. I would
Yeah.
stream like once every few months. Like I had Facecam. I did like Fallout 4. I streamed CS:GO and other random games. I only had like 3 viewers.
Mhm.
So I didn't really stream too often because I was like, why am I streaming? I get 2 viewers, Sag, cry, one tear down my
Yeah.
cheek.
Right.
Until VR chat, and then I would record from December 10th to like December like 20th. So I
Mhm.
recorded for like 10 days straight, and during that time is when I talked about Poke. So he ran a team called Team 5, and eventually I met him in a public, and I was playing a character. So what I mean by that is when I first started playing VR chat, I wasn't a hot anime girl, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I was actually a hillbilly redneck. I was
I remember
I
that.
so back in the day, custom avatars were very far in between. Basically, you would go to like Big Al's Avatar World,
Yeah.
you would go to Trap Chan's Avatar World and a few others, and like that was it. Like whatever you found in game was it, or you cranked out Unity and was like, "Duh, how do I do upload avatar?" Like you watch that Tupper tutorial for 4 hours, which is literally a 4 hour tutorial. So I was like, "Fuck that!" So basically, I looked up some games, like a website that ripped game assets, and one of them was The Walking Dead, Telltale The Walking Dead, and it was Kenny from season 2 with like the jacket and the baseball hat and the jacket. And so I found that model, and then I uploaded in Unity, but it didn't have any Visemes and didn't have eye blinking or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I was the first one to upload the model to the game, so I was the only one that looked like Kenny from The Walking Dead in the
Oh, that's
entire
really
video.
cool.
And so I stood out. Everybody else just looked like Bart Simpson or Miku or whatever, and then there's just like a hillbilly standing there and like cell shading. So I was like, okay, so I have the model. I can't talk like my normal self. I gotta have a character here to like stand really out here.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to add like a really hillbilly southern accent. So I sounded like I was like, "Hell yeah, brother! Yo, my name's Kenny Keiko. What the hell going on here, game weeaboos? What the hell going on, man?" So I'll talk like that, like 6 to 8 hours a day, like
Oh
that,
wow.
and just saying like random shit, like, can I swear on this?
Yeah, I can swear.
Okay. So I would say like random stuff. I'll just be like. I'm like, I fucking hate anime, fuck weeaboos and shit like that. And I'll just say random shit like that all the time. Or I'll be like, I'll never be an anime girl on this goddamn forsaken video game.
Yeah.
Case in
Right.
point.
Yeah.
But so I did that, and it quickly made people laugh. It was either they hated me or they loved me. And
Yeah.
when I started doing it to Poke, he was laughing. He was like, "This guy's funny," because like everybody else in VR chat was like your typical MMD models, and like they're very people shy. They're like, hey guys, I just got VR chat, and this is pretty cool." And I'm like, "What the hell? Speak up, bitch! What you saying? What are you watching them Naruto? What are you, a weeb?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm like, what the hell?" And like I drink Coors Light, Bud Light, hell, you crack a cold with the boys, tell you what, So like I was very like loud and obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
So it caught the eye of Poke and other people from Team 5, and very quickly I ended up joining the team, and that's where I started streaming. Because I told them that I was a YouTuber and I was recording for YouTube content. They said that's fine, but they're like, why would you? They're like, bro, why are you doing YouTube, bro? YouTube's dead, bro. And they weren't wrong at the time. It's
At the
like
time, yeah.
apocalypse is going on. You don't make any money. You can't swear. Like, geez, like you still
Yeah.
can't like swear and do a lot of things.
That's
But
true.
they're like, why? Their reasoning was, so you're going to record, have to then edit everything, and then have to post it, and then make thumbnails and descriptions and all that jazz. You could just open up OBS, press start streaming, and then just be interesting and cool for 4 hours and log off. Like, it's way easier, bro. So I was like, wait, you're right. And so on like December 21st or whatever, just before Christmas, I started streaming, and I've been streaming ever since.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Um,
true,
true.
real, yeah, true and real.
Yeah. That's a quite a story. I guess so
Yeah,
how yeah, so how long have you been doing so somewhere along the way you started doing interviews and stuff. Like
that's
when did
true. Yes.
when did that start
So,
happening and
so
like
just before I get into that story,
yeah.
the Kenny K Kona character was an embodiment of the Twitch global emote K Kona, which is
Mhm.
a global emote in everyone's chat. So
Yeah.
that basically, whenever I would like do the accent in Poke's chat, who had like 10,000 viewers at the time, just imagine that emote being spammed like 1,000 times every time I
I
talked. So
could
that's
see
why I did.
that. Yeah.
So every
Wow.
time I would do that accent or just say something stupid, people would just spam that emote. So, and I saw it because I was obviously had chat in my hand. So
Yeah.
like just seeing like that emote just get spammed just reinforced it. They're like, that guy is funny. So I
Yeah.
would just keep doing the character, which leads to me being an anime girl now. But to answer your other question,
Funny.
which is how did I get into doing interviews?
Yeah.
So how I got into it doing interviews is a long, drawn out story. So I
That's
wanted to do
fine.
interviews like probably as early as sometime in 2018, but it never happened until 2019. So Team 5 disbanded in August of 2018. And Poke and everybody else kind of went their separate ways. And at that point, VRChat was kind of on a decline for a little bit, unless you're watching like Loathon or well, actually, this is before Loathon. Actually, so I know a lot of people from back in the day. This is kind of like, in a way, call it like a downward spiral for like, because Poke was like the huge viewership and a couple other streamers, but once he left VRChat, it kind of went on a downward, but then back up, eventually with Loathon and everybody else over the years. But during my time in Team 5, actually, they had a podcast called the Team 5 Podcast, cleverly named, and I was never really on it, and I knew the person who made the world. That was GM3 or Boombox Head, which is his name now because people changed their name. And I remember we had team meetings every week in Team 5 on Discord private. and I wanted to have kind of like a news channel thing. So it wasn't interviews, it was news, like VR news. Because if you didn't know, back in the day in VRChat, there was no like dev blogs or any of that, or
Mm-hmm.
like developer streams. It was basically how you found out that the game was being updated was you randomly just got a patch, or actually option B was that the developer, like I'm not joking, the developers of VRChat would literally just join Poke midstream and be
Oh
like,
wow.
"Hey, yo, what's up, Poke? Yo, there's a new patch coming out. It's called the camera system, which is this what you're using right now." And he was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then he would get a beta code to it and show it to
Oh
10,000 people. I mean, it's
yeah.
smart for the devs, right? It's cost
Right.
$0.
Yeah.
So they would do that all the time. So that's how like the camera came out and other uh, patch notes or whatever. Basically, just tell Poke, "Hey, this thing's coming out next week. You want to check it out?" "Yeah, sure," because it's free content. I mean, he just gets to stream it, fuck it, and get to show it early. So I was like, how do we like convey that information without having to like have a dev just randomly appear in the world, like T-posing and being like, "Hey, well, there's new updates coming out." So I brought up the idea to Team 5. No one really, they kind of just, verbally shrugged, was just like, they were kind of just like, whatever. But I knew
Yeah.
GM3 and he made the world for Poke, so I was just like, hmm. So I told GM3 the idea, and he's like, "Wait, that's sick, dude. Wait, that's genius. Like, we'll just add you a little booth, and then like you have a segment on the podcast, and then we'll just like relay information and be like, hey guys, next week, it's gonna be this big VR chat patch or whatever news is going on. Like, even if it was like." Let's say a person was about to get married or something, or like, oh no, Team Seven's about to attack Team Five or something. I don't, you know what I mean? It would just be
Yeah.
like news or whatever, and that never ended up happening. So Poke saw like the booth thing inside the world. He was like, "What is this?" I was like, "That's my idea I had." He's like, "Remove this." I was like, "Oh, okay." Sag feels one tear went down my
Oh,
eye. I
yeah.
was like, "Oh, okay, whatever." So then that was Team Five. So then I brought up the same idea when I was in Midnight Central, which is also a team that got disbanded. And same thing, same concept, but this time it was a separate world. It was called Midnight Central News or something like that. And the world I still have it uploaded to my account, but it was never finished. It was like a very like it was more like a news where I was going to be a news anchor, and I was going to be like the host, and I was going to have like instead of like sports, it was going to be like Avatar worlds or whatever. So we're gonna shout out people that would make worlds and stuff like that, and do like on the street journalism, like all like pre-recorded stuff, basically, not really like live streamed. So it's gonna be playing as like a segment on the Midnight Central podcast. Again, didn't happen. Never took off. I had the world like half functioning. No one cared. It was kind of just whatever. So then, to get to the good part here. So in January of 2019, me being kind of just like spinning in circles like this, like what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing in VR chat. I have like 5 viewers for 2 years and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Basically, um, I used to go to a club called Neko Nights. This club doesn't, well, it exists in VR chat, but the event itself has closed
Right.
down.
Yeah.
It was run by Lanfear and Oathmeal. They're no longer friends or whatever. But
Yeah.
anyway, during the time, uh, I would hang out every Friday, and there was a person that showed up there randomly, and it was kind of off to see someone like new because I think it was invite only, or maybe it was like the one day it was invite plus world, and it was Ladle. Her Twitch name at the time was Life of Delivery Service. Her
Yep.
in-game name was Ladle.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know much about Ladle at this time at all. So I was just sitting talking to some people, getting drunk, and basically the conversation was with like two other people, and they were talking about my world because I used to make worlds in VRChat. The one world that everyone remembers me for, besides my talk show one, is I made Presentation Plus. That was the one thing I made, and that was what I was making in 2019. So I was making that world, and then that's people were talking about it because I made this giant mural of all my VRChat friends, or a good chunk of them. At the time, I had 700 friends. It has 440 people on that mural. The world still exists to this day.
I know that world. Yeah.
And so that was the topic of conversation. And then Lato pipes in and says like, "Oh yeah, I know that world. Oh, you're the world creator for that?" I was like, yeah, I made that world. And I was just like, oh, geez, this is probably a person's probably going to ask me like, yo, can I be added to the world? Because that was like the conversation at the time. Everyone was just like, yo, can I be added? I'm like, I don't even know you. What do you want from me? But Ladle's
Uh,
talking and saying like, yeah, I have a lot of friends in that world and stuff like that. And then Ladle's like, you know, the conversation led to, yo, we should do like some sort of like podcast or open discussion thing. And Ladle and I started pitching this idea to Ladle, and then Ladle's like, "Yeah, actually, I wanted to do that at some point. You want to do that together?" And I was like, "Oh shit, really?" So that's where I started getting into the idea of doing a talk show from. It wasn't. It was originally Ladle's talk show. So, like next week, we go to My World Presentation Plus. We sit on the couches. So Ladle's streaming and I'm streaming, and we're running a talk show where Ladle's the host, I'm the co-host, and we would bring on like one person or two into my world. It had no custom systems, nothing like that. It was just basically using the pinpoint camera that you have there and just using the three pinpoints, and that was it. But it was very successful. I mean, Ladle already had like 200, 300 viewers to begin with, and I had like
mhm.
10. So I mean, shit, people already like, damn, this is cool. And I was
Yeah.
basically, my role was like, I'm like the boomer of VRChat, where I'm like, back in my day, in December 2017, there was this thing called the Knuckles, and people are like, so I was basically like the old man in the chair, being like, yeah, back in my day, I remember VRChat, and we did the show every once a week, and it became popular as over time. And Ladle messages me or tells me and says like, "Hey, I'm getting actually a talk show world developed. It's gonna be made by Shizui or Shizu. They're a VTuber now. They moved on. But anyway, they made the world for Ladle, and the world is still public. You can still go to anytime you want. Um, and it's called the Ladle Talk Show or Ladle Podcast. I think the world's called. And it has like a desk, couch, chair, audience area, cameras, all that jazz. And she was the host, I was the co-host, and I would bring on the guests, bring up the topics and stuff like that. And it was very successful. I mean, Ladle ended up going from like 200 viewers, and at peak, over the months we did the show, had like 650 viewers, something like
Yeah.
that. Like pretty up there, maybe 700. I don't remember the exact analytics, but it was pretty up there. And this is during a time where like 2019, where like VRChat had like that, like basically you either watched, I don't know, it was like Rob, Loathon, and maybe like Ladle. Like I don't know, remember who like was relevant at the time, but like she was like the third. I think at that time it was a very late in the night. I think she might have been the biggest streamer until like Rob streamed. So like basically you had to watch Ladle, and she was like the number one or second streamer for VRChat, the whole category.
Mhm.
And we would do the show once a week every Friday at 7:30 p.m. And we did it for about 4 or 5 months, and people loved it. People talked about it all the time. Ladle was super ecstatic to like have the show being very successful. Had a wonderful time with it. To me, I enjoyed doing it, but I didn't really get a lot of things out of it in terms of like viewership or anything like that. I still had like 10, 15 viewers, so I was just kind of like, but it is what it is. Anyway, eventually the show gets canceled in
Yeah.
August of 2019. So we ran from like January to August, so less than a year, like what, like 6 months, 7 months. And one thing led to another. And during this sort of lull or like, awkward phase of the show being canceled, I remember Lag Free Box being the relevant world at the time. And I remember joining off some random people. And people were like talking about the Lato show. And they're like, wow, that show is really cool. It sucks it got canceled. And then
Yeah.
people didn't know I was in the world with them. So I was standing behind this like group of like 12 people just talking about it. And I didn't want to like, enter the group and be like, hey, I'm the co-host. Hey, what's up, guys? Because I wanted to hear what their honest opinions were before knowing that I
Yeah.
was there. Because if they're gonna say something, I want to know honesty, Because if I said, hey, I'm the co-host, they're gonna be like, oh shit, we can't talk negative.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
a lot of people said like the show was fun. they said like it sucks that you got canceled, but they're like, that co-host guy, I don't remember his name. They're like, I don't remember his name. What the hell is his name? Rebel something? They're like, why doesn't he run his own show? Like he seemed like a really nice guy. It sucks it
Oh.
ended, but and I started hearing conversations like that and drinking nights and parties just like off in the distance, or people DMing me saying like, why don't you run your own show? And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Because I don't have any money. I'm a broke college student, so I couldn't like afford a world like how Ladle hired Shizui to make a really good world. I only knew I could only do it if I made it myself. So I made a really crappy set in September. So it took me a month to like sit on the idea. And so in September of 2019, I made my own world in 3 days, a really shitty world, but it worked.
Yeah.
And I only spent $10 on it to buy like some prefab assets or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I started interviewing people in September of 2019, and just quickly skyrocketed. Like I went from 10 viewers to like immediately 20, 30, and by the end of the year it was like 40, 50 average. I was
Yeah.
pumping out interviews like candy. I was doing them like multiple times a week. And I
Yeah.
was the host. I didn't. There's no co-host. Still don't have a co. I'm the one that does everything basically. I know I have like people now like Dead Guy and Lofty and my mods that help me out with my shows now. But back then it was just me. Eventually I had a person named Pixel help me out with some camera stuff. But initially it was just me. So I had to like click buttons and like talk and like it almost seems like I was having a stroke every time I was doing an interview because I had to like press 15 different buttons to like manage things.
Yeah.
But that's how I got started into doing interviews. That's like the long, drawn out story. So I
No,
went from
thank
Team
you.
5, nothing happened there. Midnight Central, nothing happened there. Doing the show with Ladle, and then eventually running my own show and doing everything myself. And then
Yeah.
here I am, 3 years later, still going strong, almost 300 episodes. I got a professional world built for me
Mm-hmm.
that I paid for by Legends VR. He made it in June of 2020. It's almost 3 years I've had this world, and it's been drastically updated since I've gotten it in terms of like functions and udon and programming. But yeah, that's how I got into doing interviews, and I just like talking to people. I like
Yeah.
engaging and learning about people and stuff like that. Because before I did interviews, before I even did the Lato show, I would stream like Friends Plus worlds and Presentation Plus, which is my world, or like just hangouts and game modes or whatever. And I'll just sit there and just talk to somebody like this for like 20 minutes, just like
Yeah.
first person. And like it wasn't like the proper way to like stream, because when I would do that, like nobody cared.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are like, "What are you doing, bro? Like do something interesting." So so nobody cared that I was just sitting here talking to somebody about like, I don't know, like SDK 3 or whatever I was talking about. People are like, "Boring, yo, where's the quirky mutes? Where's the content? Where's like the swimsuits, man? Like what's going, you know what I mean? Like nobody
Yeah.
cared." So the moment that I made a proper set, had a proper camera system and a proper content, people started flooding in. Like that's
That's
where people
interesting.
started, I had to
Yeah.
like make a platform, to like present my content. If I still just like first person, like, hey, what's up, guys? They didn't care. It wasn't until I
Yeah.
had like a proper way to do and I actually had structure towards like the interview questions and the world. That's when people started to tune in.
Yeah, that's incredibly insightful. um,
Yeah.
how, so you said you've done like over 300. Were there any challenges starting out or during that time? Like, did you just kind of play it by ear or did you struggle with anything? Like, what was the
So
hardest part
so
setting
the
up?
hardest part for me was probably getting partnered. It happened in 2020. For me, it wasn't too hard to find people because back then, like I was like everyone just knew me as an interviewer guy, and there was kind of like this like meme, like joke, like this inside joke that was going around. So essentially, back in the day, I would find like a lot of people. I knew people back before they even streamed. So like I knew like Chromia and like Lawthon and all these influential, very big streamers nowadays. I knew them when they had like one viewer, and I was already
Yeah.
their friend. So it wasn't too hard to convince a lot of people to come on my show when I'm already their friend, right? It's not like I'm like some
Yeah.
random guy DMing you on Twitter being like, "Hey, can I send me some feet pics?" You're gonna
Yeah.
be like, "What?"
Yeah. Right.
So for me, it wasn't too hard to find people. It was mostly just um, trying to get partnered. So what I mean by that is when I would do an interview, I would get a lot of viewers. But when I didn't do an interview, it would like flatline. It was like I would go from like 100 viewers to like 20 the moment like the interview's over. So I was like, fuck, like what do I do? So I ended up doing what's called like a partner push essentially, where I would just only do interviews. I didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
So this is also when COVID happened because that's in 2020. So I was going to college from 2015 to 2020. I went to college for 5 years.
Hmm.
And in May is when COVID happened and I couldn't go to school anymore in person. Everything was online. Eventually, I even quit going online because I was just struggling and getting distracted by being on the computer and being like, hee hee XD.
Yeah.
So I just went full time into doing Twitch. Now going from a hobby to my job. I had a lot more free time to just like set up interviews, talk to people. And at the time, a lot of people couldn't work or do anything, so they just started tuning in and watching Twitch more. It's also
Right.
around the time when other streamers unrelated to VRChat started coming into VRChat. So the GTA role players from NoPixel, like Buddha and Kyle and Penta and all these like very, very large GTA people started coming into VRChat, and they're all like noobs. And then I was at the right place at the right time that I could, sort of be like, hey, I know about VRChat, I'll show you around. And I would show them around VRChat. And then I'll like very like people shy be like, this is my talk show where I interview people. And they were like, wait, this is kind of sick. What the hell? And so I would interview some of them, and some of them had thousands of viewers. So they had like their viewers had to come to my stream to watch the interview. So now boost up my numbers. To I had a couple hundred viewers for some interviews or 1,000 at one point.
Yeah.
And so during May, I basically did interviews almost every day. I was basically brain dead and basically only did interviews, and my brain was not functioning. But I applied to get partnered, and I had about 75 viewer average, which is the minimum, right?
Yeah.
And then Twitch was like, excuse me, you actually can't get partnered. Go away. And I was like, oh man. So instead of like most people who apply and they don't get partnered, they get depressed or be like, damn it, I hate streaming, or whatever. So instead of that happening, I was just like, I'm gonna double down and just do more interviews. So
Yeah.
I just went crazy and just did interviews, like 40 interviews in 40 days, basically. I
That's
just went like
crazy.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the next time when I applied, I had 180 viewer average, and my strategy was basically do an interview, and then before people like leave to like go somewhere else because the interview's over, I would just immediately end my stream
Yeah.
or like raid somebody. So the viewership would be 180 right when the interview's ending, instead of like 20 minutes later where it'll pop down to like 20. So I
Yeah.
was basically min-maxing
Right.
my viewership at the time. And then in August 9th, 2020, I got partnered. So that was probably the roughest, hardest time for me because like it took me like 40 days to like get back from Twitch or whatever to get partnered, which is a ridiculous amount of time. It's only supposed to take 2 weeks, but because of COVID, it took forever to like be like, yeah, you're partnered. And when that happened, when I finally got partnered, I felt like a huge burden has been lifted under me, like off of me,
Yeah.
because I've interviewed so many people and just seen so many of my friends get partnered. I was just like, dude, why am I not partnered, dude? Like, what the heck, man?
Yeah.
And another story is related to me getting partnered was the inside joke that I forgot to mention. Essentially, when I would interview people in VRChat, a lot of them were very close to getting partnered, and then literally right after my interview, they get partnered, like verbatim.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen once, twice, three, or five, or 10, or 20 times. It happened like 40 times. I'm not exaggerating. Because I would purposely find people that were close to getting partnered and then be that sort of like extra speed bump to like help them get partnered. And
Yeah.
so it became like widespread knowledge that if you came on my talk show, you could probably get partnered if you're close to it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it worked for me to get a lot of guests, right? So
Yeah.
that's where so people are like, when I ask people like, oh yeah, I want to come on. Yep, I want to get partnered, so I want to come on. Sure, let's do it. It's I was like, hey, I get a bunch of
Hey,
guests,
it's a win-win for everyone there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then I never even got partnered. So people are like, bro, you're like a good luck charm for everybody else, but you never got partnered. So what the hell? So funny enough, I had Jade's interview me at my own show, and then a week later got
Oh.
partnered.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I just had to get interviewed. I just
Right.
needed to get interviewed, and then I would get partnered. So that's what happened there.
Thanks, Jade. Someone said, yeah. Um, so now you kind of like toned it down a little bit with the interviews. I mean, you're not doing like 40. And are you still just as
Of
passionate
course,
about
the
ever, but or are you kind of
so
like kind
okay, so when I did those interviews, it was kind of just rapid fire.
of
It
yeah,
was like more like quantity over quality, where I'm more
yeah,
focusing on quality over quantity now.
yeah,
So I try to do an interview at least like once every 2 weeks or every month, which I know is like, geez, man, you went from like 2 to 3 a week to like basically once a month. I mean, I would like to do one every week at the very least, but it's difficult for me to find people that interest me. I mean, sure, there's like 60,000 players in this game, and I'm sure I could just be like, "Hey, watch out, bro. I'm Eric Andre, and here's a random person on the street," you know? But like that's
yeah,
very hit or miss, okay? Like either it's going to be
yeah,
a really good time or a really bad time. So I usually my process now is I'll find someone, either someone I already know, or B, maybe some random streamer or some random world creator, avatar creator, somebody that interests me, basically. That's the
yeah,
criteria. And then I'll talk to them multiple times over the course of like a couple weeks. So like
yeah,
I'll meet with them completely off stream, talk to them for 3 to 4 hours at a time. Like really like hyper focus on like, is this person like, do I think they're qualified or interesting enough to be in my show? Because what ends up happening is I would do some interviews where I didn't do a lot of research, where I kind of just like, this guy's popular, so I'll just bring him on. And then I bring them on, and they're kind of just like, I'll ask them like, so how'd you get into like streaming? How'd you do this? How'd you do that? And they'll be like, I don't know. No, I don't care. Whatever. I'm just like, oh shit, this is a
yeah,
pretty bad interview. I really didn't, go in not really knowing what this is supposed to be the way it's supposed to. So the process of me taking a lot of time to like really understand the person makes it better because then I know like
yeah,
because at the end of the day, let's say I meet someone for like 2 weeks and I talk to them, a couple times a week. And let's say like, oh, they're actually nah, they're not really good for an interview. I still just gained a friend regardless.
right, yeah,
So it's a win-win regardless if I get them on for an interview or not. Because there's been many times where I brought on someone and it was kind of just fell flat. And I was just like, oh shit, this is awkward. This is really, no. So I wanted to avoid that situation. So I make very, very clear that if I'm going to interview someone, I have to really understand who they are and tailor the questions to them. See, I could pick random streamers from the category and just be like, want to come on my show? Sure. But I really don't know them. So if I'm going to ask a question, it's going to be a very broad question,
yeah,
you know?
right,
So if I get to know them, then I can ask them a very specific question tailored to them. So it makes it more like I actually give a shit about them rather than just, wow, you have 100 viewers. Want to come on my stream?
yeah.
You know?
Extremely relatable. I'm sure you've got like tons of messages from people or random people just being like, "Hey,
Oh, of
interview me."
course.
Like,
Oh yeah,
you
of
don't know
course.
me,
Every
but
day, every day I get you. Not every day, but
I get messages like that quite a bit.
once in a while I get somebody's like they're like or they're like they're pity bait. They'll be like, I don't think I'm interesting or cool enough to be on your show. And I'm like, aw geez, one of these people, man, they're fuck. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to pity bait. They're
Yeah,
trying to be like, yeah, but maybe one day I'll be big enough to come on your show, oh girls. I'm like, I'm just like, geez, man, don't pity bait like that, Because I've interviewed people that don't even stream. I don't give a
yeah,
fuck. Like, uh, just do I interview people because they have lots of viewers? Sure. That's the same thing as Conan O'Brien or Jimmy Fallon. Do you think he interviews 50 Cent because he likes him or because he's popular rapper? Like,
yeah,
obviously, like, dude, come on. But I kind of just pick and choose who I
yeah.
want and, and,
Hmm.
and try to make it so it's something that of interest, you know?
Yeah,
That,
completely.
even if I don't get a lot of viewers for an interview sometimes, to me, it's just maybe I like that person. I really just want to get to know them more, you know?
Yeah, I
So it's
completely
not always,
understand.
yeah, so it's not always just for like, oh, is this going to give me like 100 subs tonight
Yeah, right.
or
Um,
viewers or whatever?
yeah. No, I totally relate to that. I only really have people on that I like and that I know somewhat well. Or else it's
Okay.
I don't get it. Like how like so if you did like an hour or something, did you usually schedule your interviews for like 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, or was it like because if you had someone on that you didn't like and you're like this sucks, did you just go the full hour or did you like cut them off?
Uh, so okay, so back in the day when I first did interviews, there was no like determined amount of time. It was at least an hour, but some interviews ended up going for 4 hours,
Yeah, right.
which is like forever. So nowadays I cap it out at least 1 hour to max 2 hours.
Mhm.
My own sanity. So even if I like, and nowadays this doesn't happen. I don't have like a shitty interview that's like, wow, this is really shitty. Because I spend a lot of time focusing on quality, so it never happens. But back in the day, I would say worst case scenario, it'd be like an hour, hour 15. Like I would like really like trying to like figure out like how to like stretch this out to make it a half decent interview. I'll have to like play mental gymnastics in my head to be like, okay, how do I like make this interesting?
Yeah.
How do I spend my time here? Because I never had an interview that was like, oh, this sucks. I gotta cut it off after 10 minutes. That
Yeah.
never happened.
Yeah. Did you have any like favorite interviews that you did looking back on things, or is it all like one big blur? Are there any that stand out?
There's definitely people that stand out to me.
Yeah.
So one of them that happened like 2 years ago or a year and a half was with Ray. So Ray is deaf,
Yeah.
which is a person I've known for many years. For those who don't know, he is deaf in
Mm.
the
Some
real
in the
world.
movie and the
Yes, he was in
yeah,
the We Met in
movie
Virtual Reality
one.
or How We Met in Virtual Reality, the HBO one. And I known Ray for many years, but I never really had a conversation with them because, like, I don't know sign language. I still don't.
Yeah.
So the only way to be able to communicate with emojis, like
Yeah.
in terms of VR chat, like typing on Discord, yeah, that's one thing. I'm talking about like
Yeah.
in game,
Yeah.
or we use the markers, and I would write like hi, hello, or like you're cool, or whatever. I didn't really have to like. And I was streaming half the time, so I can't just sit there and write like a paragraph. Like I have
Right.
to like focus on other things. So I wanted to interview him for a very long time. So I organized it, and this time around I had a translator. I had Jenny, who's also from the movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
the pink-haired girl with the
Mhm.
pink eyes,
Wow.
and she's a teacher or yeah instructor for Helping Hands, which is the deaf community.
Mhm.
And basically, she was like the translator for it. Kind of like if you ever watched like I don't know like politics or mayor or whatever, and like there's that person off to the side going like
Yeah.
do an ASL. She's basically like that during that interview, basically. That's her job. So I got to be able to have a conversation and interview Ray, who's deaf, because like I might have been the first person to do that in VR. Like, I don't know. Maybe I have, maybe I'm not, but
Yeah.
people said like that was like the first real time like a talker or like a person who hears is interviewing a deaf person in VR. And so that was interesting because like the translator was transcribing everything that Ray was signing,
Mhm.
and I didn't know that the repercussions of that interview until like months later. So what I mean by that was when I was interviewing Ray, there was hundreds and hundreds of people in VR chat watching that. They're all deaf.
Yeah.
So they were all like on a couch. Like the people showed me screenshots. There's like a bunch of people sitting on a couch in front of like a video player with my stream opened up, and they were watching it. And then they were like, "Dude, this is like a historical moment."
Wow, that's really cool.
And I didn't know that until like
Yeah.
way after the interview because of a person told me in the Helping Hands. So
Yeah.
I was like, no, no shot. They're like, yeah, like that was a huge. You don't know the impact you did when you did an interview. I was like, I don't know. I was just interviewing Ray, my friend. Like I didn't know the repercussions of that. So
That's so cool. Yeah.
it was a huge moment for the deaf community, to in a way have their voice heard. And it's interesting is that interview because I poured all my interviews to YouTube for archive purposes. Someone went for the interview and then transcribed everything I said
Oh wow.
and closed captions. So
Yeah.
anybody that ever watched the interview as a deaf person can understand what I was saying.
Mhm.
During
Yeah.
the interview, I had closed captions on for Twitch, but that doesn't translate to YouTube because it's a plugin.
Right.
for so someone had to sit there and transcribe every single thing I said for like 2 hours or
Wow.
whatever it was. So I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, like that's crazy to me that someone did that.
Yeah.
So that's one of my interviews. The other ones I had that I really liked was Next 21 or Joey Bagels.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always been someone I always looked up to. For those who don't know, basically Joey Bagels, I would say arguably was like one of the founding fathers of VRChat, if you want to call it people like that. So one of them was like Poke, another one was Nags. He started making videos in like August of 2017 when the game had 10 players, and he quickly within the year got very popular on YouTube. He used to stream on YouTube like 1,600 viewers, then he started streaming on Twitch, and that's where like Matt Six and like Rad and like Land for Your Oatmeal and Ashanera, Zentreya.
Mm-hmm.
All those people came from. They came from Joey Bagels' like crew, and I got to interview him several times. And every time I like talk to him, it's always a blast. He's a really nice guy. He's given me also a lot of like personal advice, like off stream, like even to run my own shows. Like he sat in a Discord call with me for two hours explain to me like how to run my show, like advice and stuff like that. So when I interview him, it's always been a blast to like talk to him and just pick his brain. And he did say to me like about a year ago that he wanted to come on my show again, which hasn't happened. One tear down my cheek. He wanted me to interview him again with Landfear to talk about reminisce about the old days. Maybe it'll
Yeah.
happen one day. I don't know.
That's a good idea. I'd love to hear about those.
It might happen when I become a live 2D interviewer, because then it'd be easier to bring him in, because I just call him on Discord, just slap
Yeah.
him into the TV, and then Landfear has a
Yeah.
2D model now,
Yeah,
so
she
I guess I
does.
could just do that, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. What was some of the do you remember any specific advice that he gave you that you remember that you would be willing to share?
Um, Specific advice was
Yeah.
camera angles. So what I mean by that is like when I would do an interview, the camera would be sitting on the same like angle of just both people for like the entire time. And he's like every 5 or 6 seconds you should have your camera guy switch the camera angles or using different angles. So that guy does the
Mm.
camera stuff. He's in your chat. So he's my camera guy. And I told him to do that. He's been doing that ever since. So advice like that, just little things like that. That's why when you ever watch like a podcast or something or like an actual talk show, like they'll like cut between the people every so often because it's just I don't know, it's appealing to look at
It
instead of
is,
just
yeah.
looking at like two people just standing in front of a mirror for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So there's advice like that. He told me advice like just do more research on people, try to come up with other types of shows. One of them being Mavs Showcase, which is very successful.
Hmm.
Doing podcasts, just try and do different things like that. Um, so I think I follow a lot of his advice. He talked about like merchandise and stuff like that. Um, you know, just yeah. I would say most of the advice he gave. I mean, I recorded the conversation. He allowed me to record it for educate. For my own personal like.
Yeah.
In case I look back on it and like I can remember things or be like, oh, that's a really good idea, because he allowed me to record the conversation just for me,
Yeah.
so I can remember. Because I remember like re-watching, like re-listening to that conversation I had of him in Discord like several times, and that's where I like, oh yeah, that was a really good idea. Let me do that. Let me make sure that's gonna happen. So yeah,
Awesome. So I just want to reintroduce our guest today. That one rebel, VRChat streamer, interviewer, content creator. Um, and yeah, it's been amazing talking with you so far. I guess the thing I didn't ask you about yet was like how did you go from being a hillbilly to this
yeah.
model that you have now? What's
Okay,
the story
so
behind
the
that?
story behind that is a not so good story. So basically, when I was a hillbilly redneck, I did that for 6 to 8 hours a day, even off stream. Even in like, I remember when I was in Team 5, like people thought that I would just like only do it on stream. So we were sitting in a Discord call like every single day, like 20 other people, and if nobody was streaming, and I'll still be like, "Hell yeah, brother! Damn, I love your shit." they're like, "No way," because I try to convince people that I actually was a hillbilly. So they're like, "Damn, this guy's doing it off stream, like on stream, off stream, everywhere." Like, you know what I mean? The character was just nonstop.
Yeah.
And at some point, people started to really question if I really was from the South. I'm not even American, I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
So like. They're like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Atlanta, Georgia." And they're like, "Okay." And they're like, So what do you do for a living? I was like, sanitation worker. I like pick up garbage and I'm a janitor and shit. And they're like, okay. Then they're like, what's the basketball team for Atlanta, Georgia? I was like, they're like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They're like, okay, dude, you're bullshitting, bro. If you live in Atlanta, Georgia, you know the basketball team and the
Yeah.
football team. I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, dude, what the fuck? You know what I mean? They're grilling me over shit like
Yeah.
that. I was just like, come on, man, just let me be a hillbilly. But that wasn't a defining moment. The defining moment for why I wanted to rebrand was in late 2018, 2019. I don't remember the exact date. But essentially, what ended up happening was I got kind of sick and tired of being the character because, like, it was funny. It was like a good side character to a stream, but it never did me any favors for my own stream. I had like 5, 10 viewers, like,
Yeah.
you know. And so I remember quite a few times I would join off of a friend's in front of a mirror, just like this, you know. And there's like 5 or 6 people there, mirror dwellers, and I joined off of them, and nobody was streaming. I wasn't streaming. Nobody was there because I had checked on Twitch, and I joined, and I said like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" Like, this is my natural voice. I said, "Hey, guys, doing?" And everyone's like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Rebel?" And then like one guy was like, "Oh, why aren't you doing the voice?" I was like, "Oh, I know no one's streaming here. I just want to be myself. Like I don't want to be a character. Like I just want to do my own thing." And then he's like, "Then why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are you here if you're not going to do the voice?" Like, the hell? And I was just like, and then when I heard that, that felt like a gut punch. Like someone just punched me right in the gut. It was just basically
Yeah.
like, "Oh, if you're not gonna dance monkey dance and do the funny words and say the funny like one-liners, then why are you here? You're go away."
Yeah.
That was basically what they were basically saying to me, and I was just like, "Damn." And then I thought to myself, like, why am I still doing the voice? Like, clearly I'm miserable. Like, I'm not enjoying it anymore. And the only reason people add me or hang out with me is so I can be entertaining for their streams or to make them laugh. And if I don't do the voice, then they're just gonna tell me to screw off or like, okay, bye. You're not funny anymore."
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Screw those people. I'm not going to entertain them anymore. I'm here for myself. Like, I want to be happy. I don't want to be depressed every day.
Yeah.
So I stopped doing the character, and so I was still had the model. I still had like well, I had like a version that was made from scratch, by JJ. JJ made this model as well, like the female version we have now. She made a male version for me back in the day, because when I had the Kenny K. Cohen model, or the sorry Kenny model from The Walking Dead, it's technically copyright. Like I can't monetize that. So I actually had Lolathon help me out. This is a random little mini story, but after the Walking Dead version I had, Lolathon took that model for me. This was before, like way before he blew up and he had free time. He actually sat down with me and like took the Kenny model and then morphed the face and the body to the point where you couldn't tell what originally what came from. And
Mhm.
so I started using that for a while, and then I got the anime version made by JJ, and so I used that, and then I started thinking to myself, I don't want to be this character anymore. So I dropped the accent and just talked like this as the character. Some people were upset, some people didn't care, but quite a few people were like, "Why aren't you doing the voice?" I was like, "Because I don't want to." And they're like, "Then why are you here?" And I'm like, "Fuck you, man. Fuck you." You know, like people are just like that negative
Yeah.
to the point where I wanted to rebrand. So in January of 2019, when I met Ladle, I already was talking to an artist to have a character sheet developed for this character. And so I was like, how do I have like a final send off? Like, how do I go from a hillbilly to a high anime girl? So I decided to have like a personal story arc, and the personal story arc was basically I was a waifu hunter. So we basically took the Pokemon trainer like avatar and then just cut off the head, put my character's head on it, and then instead it said Pokemon trainer on the shirt, it said waifu hunter in Japanese or whatever. And basically, I had a friend at the time named Miku 27 or Mico Mico 27. He doesn't play VR. He quit years ago. I don't know about nowadays, but at the time he quit. And he that's the final avatar he made. He used to make animations, and essentially the avatar is when stations, VRChat chairs came out in avatars.
Mhm.
And essentially, what ended up happening was he made this custom animation where I was a Pokemon trainer. And I could literally throw a Pokeball out and catch people.
Oh,
because
that's
of the chair.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, they had to sit in the chair, but basically when they sat in the chair, I threw a Pokeball, and then like they got sucked in like, and like there's like the red light, like, and they go in, and it literally look, and then my character walks over and picks up the Pokeball,
That's
like
so
with the sound
cool.
effects and everything. Yeah, so people are like, "What the? He just caught like Chromie. He caught Tali. What the hell? Like, what?" And I was just like, "Yeah, that's my waifu now." And people are like, "What the hell? You're Team Rocket. You stole them." You know. And what ends up
Yeah.
happening is the station just teleports you like 100 meters on the map, and you're stuck inside this like Pokeball. Now, if you were to like move like this, it would kick you out of the chair, and then you just fall, and then you just respawn. But if you stayed in the chair, there's a second animation where I can actually like summon you. So I would like toss you out and go, and I'd be like, all right, Chromia attack, use ice spear. I don't, you know what I mean? I'll do some RP bullshit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, so I ended up doing like this waifu hunting arc where essentially I would go around and just challenge my friends and random people to become one of my waifus. And the idea was we would play like game modes, like VRChat game modes, like chess or battle this or capture the flag or whatever game mode we could think of, we would do, even like tic-tac-toe or whatever. And if I won, they had to be one of my waifus. And if I lost, I had to take a challenge. Like they would just punish me, like do 10 push-ups or some bullshit like that, or play beer pong because that was relevant at the time. And I would always take a picture of every single waifu, and then I would post it to Twitter, be like waifu number 87 right here, or whatever. And there's quite a few people that didn't like me being their waifu. I didn't date any of them. I wasn't like a harem or anything like that. But people got upset when I would have people as their waifu because people got upset and be like, "Wow, that's my girlfriend. What the hell, man? She ain't one of your waifus. Fuck off, loser." And I was just like, "This is RP. Like, like I don't actually like date them or anything." He's like, "I don't care. You take them off the list, or I'm gonna dox you. I'm gonna figure out where you live, boy."
Oh
I'm like,
gosh.
"Holy shit, dude. Relax, dude. This is VR chat." So some people were like a few screws short of a workbench, a little nutty
Yeah.
about it. But anyway, after getting 151 waifus, which took me like 3 or 4 months, I streamed every single day doing that challenge. It was around the time when I got my model made by Dev Texture originally, and it was like a semi-realism looking avatar, which quickly I didn't really like. But shortly after that, I had JJ Nomu, who's mostly known for making like the VSojo girls models, like Surveil. Well, Surveil's not longer a part of VSojo, but at the time, yeah, she made like Zentrea's model, she made Surveil's model, Nanners, all of them, Iron Mouse, whatever, for VRChat. So I got my model way before VSojo did, before VSojo even existed. So I had a biker outfit made, and basically the lore basically just made up and told people was that so Kenny K Kona got all the waifus and they didn't want to be his waifu anymore, so they like tricked him and like poisoned him or cast a spell on him and he turned into an anime girl. And now he has to suffer every day as an anime girl. So that's the
That's
that's the
your
lore.
lore.
Yeah, that's my lore. So the waifu hunter becomes the hunted. So now I'm the one that gets hunted, and everyone is like, "Wow, you're a hot anime girl," and that's why I do hip wiggle Wednesdays every Wednesday. I
Hmm.
wiggle my hips, and people are like, "You're hot," and I'm like, "No, I'm a dude," and they're like, "That makes it better," and I'm like, "Oh shit." So
Yeah, I did not know any of that at all. Okay, cool. Do you?
yeah, that's my lore.
Cool. Do you like being an anime girl now, or do you secretly loathe it, like your character?
No, I like being an anime girl. What do you mean? Every
Yeah.
time what do you mean? I have lore. You have TWS, thick waifu syndrome. Every time I look down, I can't see my feet anymore because I have too large personalities. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I always wanted to be an
Um,
anime girl ever since I played the game. It's just that you gotta understand. Like I played when it was just MMDs and shitty TDAs. Like everyone looked like garbage to me, in my opinion.
yeah.
It just. I was like, man, everyone's like these avatars suck.
Fair.
And like and like I didn't want to look like everybody else. I didn't want to be like for example, one of the popular models I remember Whoops had like the nine-tailed fox, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And like everyone had that avatar. Like one was blue, one was green, one was purple,
Right.
and one was, you know what I mean? It was like this
Yeah.
Power Rangers. It's like the Clone Wars of TDAs. So I was like, I didn't want to just be a red version of that. That's boring. It already was a red person. It was stripping. So I was just like, man, I'll just wait until I get my own, you know?
Yeah.
So I got the male avatar. I should have, when I got the male version from JJ, I should have just decided right then and there to be an anime girl. But I don't know. I guess I was just dumb and wanted to keep going. I did have a lot of repercussions because of this character.
Yeah. Like what?
So, so early on, when I first, rebranded and like, so I got the model in July of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People that knew me before, because a lot of my friends knew me before as Kenny K Kona, so a lot of them immediately were like, "Oh, you're just not an e-girl now. You're just a slut now. You're just a whore." Like,
Jesus.
I'm not. They literally said that. They're
I
like,
like
"So
that.
you used to be a funny hillbilly, and now you're literally what you like." Like you live like you either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain. You are the villain now. Now you're literally just like everybody else, dude. You're just a whore. I was just like, what? Like I'm a talk show host. I interview people. I ran like all these events, and I'm a role player. Like they're like, nah, you're funny when you're a hillbilly, bro. I was just like,
That's rough.
yeah.
That's
Especially
brutal.
it wasn't just like random people in VR chat. These are my friends. Some of these
Yeah.
like were streamers. I won't say who, but like back in the day, they literally went up to me and said like, Rebel, like why are you a girl now? Like what the fuck's wrong with you? Like what? Why can't you just be a dude and just be funny? And I'm just like, what? Like imagine saying that to somebody.
Yeah. That's such
Imagine
a
walking up to
horrible
somebody
thing
and
to
being like,
say.
wow, why do you have purple skin?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so rude.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't talk to those people anymore,
That's
so fuck
good.
them.
Yeah.
I don't listen to them. Okay, I'm not gonna be like, hey guys, I'm gonna be back to Kenny K Kona, hee hee XD. No, I
Yeah.
want to be myself. Okay, like if I wanna have 3 arms, then I will. Whatever I want, you know. I don't care about your opinion about what I want. Okay, people don't realize that like you can state your opinion, that's fine, but I'm not gonna change to appeal to your standards. Okay,
Yeah.
like you can change the subject to anything. Like I'll give an example. I had a friend who I won't mention names, but I had a friend who was an anime girl, right? Like this type of avatar, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they came out and wanted to be a furry, and that's fine. I don't care. And a lot of people didn't like that. They're like, "Oh, you're a furry now? Ew, gross." And then it really upset me because imagine going to like a drinking night, a party in VR chat or whatever, and then people would constantly just bring up, yeah, there used to be like an anime girl, now they're just a furry, so like that's weird, bro. And I would speak up and be like, why does it matter? Like what avatar they're using? Like who cares if they're a furry, a guy, a girl, a robot, a
Yeah.
tentacle monster? Like why does it matter? They're like, well, because they're weird, and I'm like, bro, you're playing VR chat, like, you know what I mean? I never forget that, and that pisses me off that people treat people differently based off of your avatar. Who cares, dude? Take off the headset, go touch some grass. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like they didn't change their avatar to appeal to your standards, okay? If they want to be a furry, they want to be a high anime girl with tits this big, then they can. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
People seem to like think they can control people and be like, you have to appeal to my standards to be my friend. It's no, that's not how it works, okay? You can be whatever you want in VR and online, but in real life, you can't really change your appearance. Like, what if someone, is a guy and they want to be a girl, or a girl that wants to be a guy? Are you gonna tell them, oh, I liked it better when you're a guy? You get canceled in 2 seconds on Twitter if you said some shit like that. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
People don't realize that like they should just keep their thoughts to themselves, and my mother always told me, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it. Okay, you don't have to
Yeah.
state your opinion if it's not warranted. Like I didn't ask for your opinion. If you're just gonna sit there and just be mean to everybody, then go away. Adios, amigos.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a lot of like I always say like or like a telltale game. They always tell you silence is an option. Sometimes it's the best option. You don't have to
Yeah.
like be like I'm going to kill you, Todd. It's like no, you can actually just say nothing
Yeah.
if you don't want to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just think it's the internet, personally, when it comes to people saying a lot of like shit or whatever, or be like, "Oh, I hate your avatar." Because if they said that to your face in real life, like you probably get their teeth knocked in, you know? Like someone would be like, "Okay, fuck you, boom. What are you gonna say now? Your nose is broken."
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It definitely is a big part of it. I don't think there ever will be accountability like that. Maybe one day, but that is a part of it, huh? Like,
yeah, it's just weird. Because that happened to my friends, it happened to me, you know. I still
yeah.
get it. I still get people once in a blue moon say like, "Yeah, when are you gonna go back to Kenny?" I told them, "Go fuck yourself. I don't care."
Wow, people still say that
Yeah,
shit.
they still say
Wow.
that in 2013. Like I literally went to a party like last week, and then the guy is like, "Oh, I was just shit posting." I was like, he's like, "I'm just joking." And then I turn around, there's like 20 people around me. I'm like, nobody's laughing.
Yeah.
And, and he was just like, "I was just shit posting, bro." I was like, "Look around you. Nobody's laughing. Nobody here's laughing." Like hypothetically, what if I said that I was trans and I wanted to be a woman, and he told me go back to being Kenny K. Kona. You'll be canceled in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not, but I'm just saying as a hypothetical. Like, people need to shut up and move on with life. Am I gonna be like 50 and still be like, "Wow, you're funny when you're a kid"? I'm like, shut up, dude. That was 20 years ago. I'm in
Yeah,
the
maybe.
nursing home.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Um, well, it sounds like, yeah, I don't know. How are you doing these days? You doing good? It was just a personal question, I guess.
Am I
Like,
doing? I'm doing pretty good. Just focusing
yeah,
on my next showcase.
yeah,
Gonna try and get some interviews for May.
cool.
Um, and then the other thing, big project I forgot to mention was I was gonna get my own homeworld built later
Oh
this year.
yeah. What do you have planned for it? Like, what's it all about?
So I was thinking of getting like a cabin or something like that in the forest. It's gonna be a public world.
Yeah.
The idea is I was going because VRChat is updating with groups,
Mhm.
and you'll be able to shortly soon, whenever the patch comes out, you could like start banning people from like group instances. You can have like bodyguards that could also invite, ban people, remove people, kick.
Oh.
So I wanted to. I always wanted to have my own homeworld. My homeworld for the last 3 years is my talk show world. So every time I boot up the game, I load into my workplace,
Yeah.
and I'm like, damn. I wish I just had my own homeworld. So I wanted to get like a nice cabin with like an outside area that has like a pool, a jacuzzi, a cherry blossom tree, a
That
theater
sounds
room, a
nice.
bedroom, a gaming room where like you have like your drinking games,
Mhm.
a bunch of comfy spots. Think of like not like particularly like this. Just think of like any like popular world you've probably been to, like Wispy Woo or Lucifer M Star. Think of like worlds like that, but it's just a cabin in the woods, very high quality. Already put a down payment on it, and when it's going to be made, it'll be made public,
Cool.
so anyone can go to it. It'll be my home world. It's going to have my Patreon attached to it, so essentially, oh, you pay me, 5, $10, you get your name in the world. You want to have like a poster, you want to have like oh girls interviews pamphlet in the world, whatever you want. Just like think of like Just Beat Club, think of Sovereign Chill Home, any of those worlds.
Mhm.
They'll have those types of amenities for Patreon people and stuff like that. And to serve as like a weekly hangout, because you do community hangouts. I heard that you were talking about that earlier. So think
Mhm.
of like that's the same for me, but it's like a personalized world. So it's gonna have my own fan art and all that jazz.
Mhm.
Um, and then just a cool place to hang out and drink with the homies. And that'd be like the last really thing that I'm gonna do in terms of VR chat.
Mhm.
Um, Besides getting outfits every like month or two or whatever, 'cause I have
Sure.
a person that I commissioned to make me outfits. So they made this one. They made my swimsuit, which is a little too revealing for this interview. Um, they made a workout outfit. I do yoga every Sunday,
Oh,
so I have a
cool.
workout outfit.
Mhm.
So that's basically it. I'm more trying to focus on doing the VTubing, like saving up as much money as I can to get a
Yeah.
really, really high fidelity 2D model, and then take my
Yeah.
interviews over there because I've interviewed a lot of people in VRChat, and I still love doing it. I don't plan on quitting with interviews. If I find someone and it's like 5 years from now and I'm still playing VRChat, sure, I'll interview them in VRChat. But a lot of VTubers I met don't really want to get into VR chat currently. It's like
Yeah,
pulling teeth at this point. It's like herding cats. It's very, very
yeah,
difficult to convince someone who doesn't play VR chat to play VR chat, and then come on for an interview and sit in a chair for two
right.
hours and be interviewed. So I thought to myself, it'd be a lot easier if I just
Mm-hmm.
go to them and become a VTuber.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. And like, even though, my life is VRChat and I love VRChat, it's so small compared to streaming and
Hmm.
VTubing in general, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah. Hello everyone. Just update you guys. My guest tonight is that one rebel. I mean,
Yes, it's me.
you're the only one I knew besides I guess Puck. Like years later, doing interviews. Is there anyone else even doing interviews? I guess Ladle with you, but
Um,
I can't even think of
so
anybody.
I don't know everybody, but Puck did it. He ran it for less than a year. He canceled his show late last year.
Hey, Dad.
There was Puck, there was myself, there's Ladle, there was Crabster, who's like a crab dude, runs the Crabster show.
Mhm.
So there's him. There's Bardic RJ.
I know them. Yeah.
See, he runs a show called Talking Trash or something like that, or Trash Takes or something. I can't remember the exact name, but he runs that, and then there might be a couple others. Like I think one of them is a Spanish streamer, but I don't speak Spanish. But I think he was doing like a podcast thing once in a while. I saw on the category and for VR chat. So there's definitely a couple other people. Like there's some people that do stuff purely for YouTube. Like I found out there's quite a few people on YouTube that do like interviews or whatever, but
Mhm.
only on YouTube. Like they only do it on there. So there's quite a few people. I'm not saying I'm the first. I'm not. You know, I'm the only one, guys. I'm the only one. No,
Yeah.
my ego's not that big. But I think I was like a pioneer for it. I definitely think that I showed people that, you know, you can do different types of things in VR. You can be a dancer, you can be a role player, be a quirky mute, whatever you want to be. And for me, I didn't get my start or like into like the streaming fame until I ran a talk show. I busted my ass to like get like a really, really in-depth world. And I have a programmer that has like a master's in programming, spent 6 years in university, and basically like made this like hyper crazy world of all these like camera settings where essentially the camera will follow your head bone. So the camera always will follow you and stuff like that. And we have this like update with my showcase or my avatar showcases where we have a spotlight and the spotlight will follow the player and the camera will follow you in real time. Very high stuff that you just don't see in any other like real productions. Maybe like VCat might have it, but they have like a way bigger budget than me. I'm just some random dude. So
Yeah. Is that the one interviewer guy? It
yeah,
is. Yeah.
it is me, the one interviewer guy. Is
Um.
any chat questions?
Any chat yeah, so if anyone from chat has any questions for Rebel, now would be a great time. Let me just go back and say thank you to Kindry and Angel Tail for the gifted subs. Evan, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. I'm sorry I couldn't thank you in the moment, but it means a lot to me. Thank you. My friend Gwyn, aka Way Too Sugoi, says, I worked with this guy. He was my pimp. We did RP a long time ago with Chips, Zen,
Oh
and I.
yeah,
Did
that's
you know
true.
them, Gwen? Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was a pimp once. That is true. See, so I fret the Kenny K. Kona wasn't just a hillbilly. Okay, he had many jobs. Okay, one of them
Has
was
a
a pimp.
yeah.
One of them was he was a cop. What else? I was Solid Snake at one point. I was punished. I was punished K Kona, where I had an eye
Punish
patch.
Kona. Okay.
Yeah. So and also I was an angel. I was a Kana. I had like six different. I had like a suit. I was James Bond. Like
All
K
within.
Kona, like Kenny K Kona had like 10 different jobs and over the course of a year and a half. He was a waifu hunter. He had an outfit that looked like he was from the Amish Mafia.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of jobs when I was Kenny, and one of them was a pimp. And I literally had a. It was when full body was like becoming relevant in
Mhm.
like March, April of 2018. I was like Veronica J and a bunch of dancers. I had a Discord called K Kona's Pimpin' Ring or some shit like that. It was just me and like 12 dancers that had full body, and we would go to the Void Club in a public. And basically, I'll just go up and be like, "Hey, what's up, guys? You wanna dance for one of my girls?" And people will be like, "Oh shit, a lap dance? Hell yeah!" So I would stream this. You can't do this anymore. You get banned.
Yeah.
But I only had like 5 viewers. So let's just say back in the day, you could do things that normally you shouldn't be able to do. And so we would offer dances to people, and we would go to the Void Club, the very old one with the 4 rooms. They're all the same, like the bedroom and like the ceiling fan thing, jiggy. And they would go in the room, and this is when the camera first came, the VRChat camera. Before they entered the room, I would stick the VRChat camera into the wall of the private room, set it to the world, so it's like a security camera.
Yeah.
And I put in the corner of my stream, and then I'd be like, all right, just wait. And so I would lead the guy or whoever the person was and the dancer into the private room, and then they would be sitting. So I couldn't hear what's going on in the room, but I could see it. The guy would just be sitting on the bed, being like, "Hey," like this, like, "Yeah, woohoo," and then the dancer would dance on them, and the stream saw everything, and then like after always like 1 minute, because I know I can't just stream that for like 2 hours. So after 1 minute, all of us outside, all my homies, all my friends, we would all switch into cop avatars, and that's where I had the cop version of Kenny, where I'll pull out the gun in my badge and I'll like walk in and be like, "You're under arrest. This is a sting operation. Get down on the ground. Get down on the ground." So like imagine just like you getting lap dance, and out of nowhere like 12 people just spawn for the door because the dancer would conveniently like open the door, and we'd just be like, "Get down on the ground, like get down." And then like I had a police baton, so I just start beating them up. I'm like, "Get, police brutality, police brutality. Oh, he's resisting. He's reaching. He's reaching." And I'm just like beat the shit. And these are public people. These
Yeah,
people
they're
didn't
just
know who the fuck I was, and they were just like, "What the fuck?" Someone got pissed. They're like, "What the hell? You cooked me, man." I was just like, "You got pranked. Get wrecked." And they're like, "Fuck you, man." And I was just like, "Yeah, go fuck yourself. Yeah, fuck you, man." And we would just leave. And the guy would just be like, "What the hell just happened, man?"
Your cameraman has a question. Can I get a Yelp rating? How many stars would you give me for all the work I did for you? Smile.
I'll give him like a 4.9 out of 5. Yeah, he crashed one
4.9.
time.
He crashed one
He
time.
crashed. He crashed a few times during interviews. I cried.
Oh, it's pretty high
So
rating though, that guy.
yeah, it's pretty high. Not perfect because nobody's perfect. That's what I'm trying to say.
There's
But
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
oh, that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Just
nobody's perfect. That's true.
I fuck up.
Not a
It
5.
happens.
I did crash here and there. Everyone, it's hard to get perfection. 5 out of 5 is pretty hard. 4.9, right? 4.9 is
Yeah,
pretty good. That's like the same. That's the closest you can get to a 5, I think.
that's right.
Uh,
Perfection.
I feel like you've already answered this question, Ninkasi, but I'll read it just so you know. I'm reading it. What was your best interview and what was your worst? I think what you're saying was Ray, or was up there, and Joey Bagels. I know you
Yeah,
just
Joey
got out there.
Bagels. There's quite a few I could say, like Chips, AK Stealth RG.
Yeah.
Who else? I had a wonderful time when I interviewed some of the GTA people. I think a
Yeah.
funny moment is when I interviewed Seer. So
Hmm.
Seer's a GTA person. Now he's like a variety gamer. He claims he's the variety gaming god or something like that. And he's like a I don't know 3,000, 4,000 viewer person. Anyway, um, when I first interviewed him is when the moment he got full body.
Hmm.
So like just before he came out on the stage, he literally just put on his full body, calibrated, and he was just like, "Wait!" I just like kicking people and be like, "Yeah, this is cool." I was like, "That's funny as fuck, dude. That was funny, dude." He just had full body and started beating people up. He's like, "Damn!" He's like, "Woo! I love VR. Like this is sick, bro." It's high
Yeah.
energy. It's funny. My worst interview, that's pretty easy for me to answer considering the person got canceled several times. It was
Oh.
a hazard. He faked cancer, so I'm pretty sure that's
Oh,
easy for me
yeah. That
to
was before my
say.
time, but yeah, I was gonna say you don't want to talk shit about anyone, but I guess he was unanimously disliked.
I mean, he faked cancer. I
Faked
mean,
cancer
shit.
for donations and stuff. That guy,
Well,
yeah.
he stole about $100,000, so I mean, that's
That's a
also pretty bad.
lot. Yeah, Yeah, that's fucking crazy. But was the interview
Yeah.
itself bad, or was he like, "I have cancer" on your on your show? Or like,
So he said a lot of like really weird stuff, like how he faked COVID twice, he faked having deaths in his family. He
Jesus
faked a
Christ.
lot of like personal problems and whatever. When I interviewed him, it was just weird. So like, I'll give an
Yeah.
example. I would interview him. This is before I had my proper set I have now, my older one. And I remember I asked him a question. I was like, "Do you have any plans for the future?" And then he's just like, "No, not really. I'm gonna die when I'm 30 or 35." And
Oh
I was like,
Jesus.
"Huh?" And he was just like, um, yeah, I have this rare disease. And I was just like, yeah, okay. My eyeballs are rolling the back of my head. I'm like, yeah, okay, dude. But like, I didn't say anything during the time. That was what I was thinking because I knew that if I called him out on
Yeah.
this bullshit, I would have been canceled. I wouldn't be where I am today. So I just
Yeah.
held my tongue. That's why silence is the best option sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and he would just say really outlandish like things that just didn't make sense. So, do you ever play like D&D before,
A little bit.
or any
Yeah.
like role playing games?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you know what it means when you roll a nat one?
What does that mean again? Not one.
So so when you roll a d20, it means like you just flawlessly do whatever. Like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I just dodged that bullet. I rolled a nat 20. So a nat one is where it's like catastrophic failure. So it's
Yeah.
like you're just
Okay.
walking, I roll a nat one, I just slip and fall. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just
Okay.
absolute failure.
Yeah.
So basically his life was a nat one every day.
Yeah.
Or at least he role played as if it was that every
Yeah.
day. So he'd just be like, "Oh, I have cancer. Oh, I can't drink 'cause I had alcohol poisoning. Oh, I had COVID twice. Oh, my grandpa died. Oh, I can't feed myself. Oh, I'm poor." You know, basically it was like every day it was like a new excuse.
Yeah.
And it was like piling up every single day or every single week. And he would stream twice a day, in the morning and at night, to maximize his profits. And he would
Yeah.
always like complain about he doesn't have enough money. So he would just people, and it worked.
And it worked.
People gave him thousands and thousands. Like I'm not joking when I say $100,000.
No.
Like
Yeah. That's
his.
what I hear.
So when the Twitch leaks happened, I typed his name in, and he made $60,000 just from Twitch, plus whatever he made from PayPal, which is probably 30 or 40,000. He made $100,000. He stole.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for me to say that's the worst interview I've ever done because the guy lied about everything.
Yeah.
So
Do you
he
remember
got
when?
canceled.
Did it just come out with someone like, "Hey, this guy is full of shit," or like, I don't
So how
remember.
he got caught was during the second time he faked having COVID in like November of 2020.
Yeah.
It was before the vaccine and everything. So he told people he had COVID, and he would like go on stream like, "I have COVID." People are like, "Oh my God, it's so terrible. Here's some money." Right? So on the like 10th or 11th day of having COVID, he never had.
Yeah.
He took a picture of because he also did IRL stuff like very rarely, but he took a picture at like a really nice steakhouse. He's like, "I'm about to eat a nice steak," and then Lyndon was a friend of mine from Team 5 Midnight Central, called him out and said, "Wait a second, you just said you had COVID like 10 days ago, and you're supposed to self-isolate for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Simple math here. You just willingly just went out and infected thousands of people. Like you may have just caused people to die. Like what's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
And then the day after that, Hazard comes out and he just writes like a little like I don't know, 3, 4 sentences on Twitter. I can't remember word for word, but it was basically like, "Oh, I've lied about everything. I never actually had cancer. I never had COVID. Never had deaths in my family. Never had whatever that I said. I just faked everything. I'm sorry." And
Yeah.
people are like, "What?"
Yeah.
People are like, so it was weird
Wow.
because some people are like, "Oh, that's okay. Come back in 2 months." I'm like, "Dude, he just stole your money. Are you
What?
stupid?"
Yeah.
Like, so some people still were defending him. I'm like, "Dude, he literally faked cancer. How do you believe that?" He was
Yeah.
what's called a chronological liar.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
where you lie all the time. Pathological is when you have the inability to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Like chronic liar or no, compulsive liar. Sorry, not
Compulsive.
chronic. It's compulsive liar is where you're like you just lie a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was a compulsive liar, and yeah, and then he streamed a month later after he got called out, like IRL, and he was just like, "Yeah, I got help, guys. I went to a church and I confessed my sins," and I'm just like, bro. What the
Bro.
what? Well, okay, dude. I'm like, yeah, okay, bro. My eyeballs are all the way back here, bro. I'm like through the roof. So, yeah, it was an interesting time.
Jesus.
But yeah, it was
Um.
crazy. The only other story I could really say about him was how manipulative he was. So when I was getting my female model made, right, it actually didn't have the money for it. Or like I was working towards getting the money. At the time, it was going to cost me $600, 600 American dollars. And so I had a donation goal for
Mhm.
$600, and I had about $20 so far over the course like a week or two. And then Hazard raids me. This is before he got canceled. So he raids me with like 100 people, and I was in a Friends Plus, and I was still streaming, and he joins me because it's a Friends Plus, and he immediately says like, "Oh hey, Rebel, I noticed you have that donation goal there. Maybe I should help you out there." He was talking like that, by the way, and then he
Yeah.
was just like, he's like, "Guys, you know what to do. You should fill that goal up for him." And I'm not joking. Within 1 minute, 50, 100, 200, 400, like immediately just $600, and then he just says, "You're welcome," and then just leaves. He says,
Huh.
"My community is very charitable."
Huh.
And then he just left. Like
Yeah.
he just like showed all his riz on me or something. He's flexed on me that his community is very charitable.
Yeah. That's so
Keyword there.
weird. That's like
And then
fucking
he
weird
stole
flex.
$100,000. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's right about the charitable part. You know.
Speechless. He mic dropped
Yeah.
on you in a weird cringe way. That's a really cringe thing to do to flex that your community is sweet enough
Yeah,
to
and then I
donate you
remember
money.
I
That's
don't follow a
fucking
lot of people
weird.
in VRChat like streaming wise because I follow people that don't stream VRChat. Every time I watch someone like stream VRChat, it makes me think of work. So I want to like
That's
watch people that
fair.
don't stream VRChat. I watch like Soda Pop and like Moon like people don't even stream this game because I just want to turn my brain off when I like log off this game. So Hazard and I would hang out sometimes, whatever. And he was streaming in the morning one time, and I was just popping in his chat for a minute, just like, "Hey, how you doing, Hazard? Whatever." And then he immediately calls me and says, "Rebel, I noticed you're not following me on Twitch. Are we not really friends?"
Hmm.
I was just like, wait, how does he know I'm not following him on Twitch? What the fuck? I was so confused by that. I was like, how does he know that?
Yeah.
Did he like stalk me? Now I know nowadays you can click on someone's
Yeah, you
username and
can
it tells you if you're
search.
following, but this is back in the day. Like, I
Yeah.
think before that was even a feature. So I was just like, how does he know? And he's like, "Are we? I guess we're not really friends then." He was pity baiting,
Yeah.
and then I immediately followed him. He's like, "I guess we really are friends. Wow, you're so cool." I'm
Oh
like,
God.
"Bro,
Jeez.
what the fuck?" I was like, "This is weird, dude. I'm getting some hard red flags here, bro."
Yeah.
So, or even one time when
Jeez.
I interviewed him, when I did my 100th podcast, he was part of it. Um, I didn't get any like subs and donuts, and that's fine. It's whatever, right? For an interview. But during that interview, someone gave him $40 off stream because he kept complaining he was hungry and he didn't have any, he didn't eat all day. So someone offline gave him $40, and then I did the interview, whatever, right? And then I ended my stream, and then Hazard walks up to me and says, "Rebel, I noticed you didn't make any money this interview. You didn't get any subs, no bits, no donations. You know what? I feel sorry for you. Here's $20."
Oh God. Jesus.
I'm not joking. He did these things, and my blood was boiling. I was like, "You piece of shit, dude. I hope you get canceled one day," as well as thinking
Yeah.
he did. So, fuck, dude. Like,
God.
dude, just imagine. Like, I was fuming. I had steam coming out of my ears. I was like, "Oh my god,
That's
dude."
so fucked, man. Jeez. Well, I
Yeah.
wonder what he's up to these days. I guess he's
Well,
with God or
someone
something.
someone told me he works at a gas station or something.
He
So I
works at
don't
a
know.
gas station. I guess he blew.
Yeah.
He probably blew it all. Those
Yeah. I don't
guys.
know.
Almost detached my retinas, rolling my eyes at that line. Yeah, same. My friend Lugs, who is a big fan. Do you have someone you wish you could interview, but for whatever reason you were unable to get an interview with? Good
Someone
question.
I always wanted to interview. I mean, I think there's a couple people that right off the top of my head. So I actually never ended up interviewing Lolthon, for example.
Yeah.
He's one person I always wanted to, and then also people would ask me every day of my life for like 3 years. Like, when are you going to interview Lolthon? When are you going to interview Lolthon?
Yeah.
And it never happened. And there's nothing against I known him for 5 years. We were both part of Team 5 and Midnight Central. So he's been on podcasts before. He's also part of he was on the Lato show at one point too. So
Yeah.
he's been interviewed before technically. And
Mm.
I just think he just got too busy. I did at one point,
Sure.
I did DM him because we had each other added on Discord and on Twitter. And I did DM him multiple times on Discord. He just kept saying he was busy. I remember at one point on Twitter, he did say like, "Yeah, I want to come on, but like this week I got like a friend over for a weekend, and I want to focus on my friend." I was like, "That's." I said, "No worry, man. We'll schedule something at some point. Take your time." Never ended up happening. And I'll never forget it. It was the weirdest moment. Nothing against Lothlon, but uh, so I made a tweet saying like, "Hey, Lothlon, I'm about to hit like 200 interviews," and I added him. Say, "Hey, do you want to come on my show sometime?" And normally you would think like, okay, that's whatever, like, sure, it's just a tweet. Everybody attacked me for that tweet. Said, "How
Oh.
dare you? How dare you ask him to come on your show? You're forcing him to come on your show, dude. You have no content." So like, it wasn't
Wow.
Lawfon, it was everybody else.
Yeah. Right.
Literally friends that I knew were like, "I can't believe you just tweeted that. What is wrong with you, Rebel? Like, what the hell?" And I had people join my Discord and then DM me unironically like 3 or 4 paragraphs. One dude sent me like a fucking
Wow.
essay like this long. He
Jeez.
was like, "I don't even know who you are, man. You Bro, I don't see you in any Lolthon videos. So clearly you're just some random clout chaser. Like, who the hell are you, man? I've been watching
Jeez.
Lolthon for 4 months and never seen you once on his stream. So who the
4
fuck do you
months.
think you are?" I'm just like, Jesus Christ, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And Lolthon never said anything. It's just like rabid fans. They're just like, a
God.
little too crazy. So I was just like, my God. I had to take a step back a few times. I was like, Jesus, man, relax, dude. I just said, "You want to come on my show?" And he didn't reply. And I already DM'd him in Discord and on Twitter, and he did say yes at some point. So, I mean, he can speak for himself. I don't need 30 people speaking for him, okay? He's a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
So, weird stuff like that. The other people I wanted to interview is probably like just VTubers, probably like Server Veil,
Yeah.
Iron Mouse, people like that. And technically, I was actually supposed to interview Project Melody
Oh yeah.
back in 2019, like February, or no, sorry, 2020. My bad, because it was when I had my show before I had my ones made by Legends. So Project Melody was supposed to be on my show, and it was because of I have a mutual friend named Takaro, and she knew Project Melody
Hmm.
before she streamed on Twitch, before she did the other stuff, the adult stuff. So uh, so Takaro knew her, and they were hosting a Patreon hangout, but the world was MI Plus. So technically speaking, anyone could join if you got invited. So I got invited by Takaro, and Takaro was like, "Rebel, if you want to talk to Melody, you have to log on right now." I was like, "Okay." So I logged in off stream, and I got to talk to Melody. And it was when ranks were being shown in the game, so everybody was like a visitor or like a new
Mhm.
user. It was weird. I was the only like trusted person in the lobby besides Takaro.
Yeah.
So I waited like 10, 15 minutes before speaking to her because she was like 30 people are just orbiting her
Sure.
constantly being like, "Oh, bounce your boobies. Oh my God, I'm a big fan." It's basically a lot of Coomers. Let's just say that. And so I said like, "Hey, Melody, I DM'd you on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, but would you want to be interested in an interview?" That's basically what I said to her in a tweet or on like Twitter DM. And she's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I'd love to be on your show. It sounds like fun. Like it sounds really cool. Like you interview like people in VR. That's really awesome. I'd love to be on your show." I was like, "No way, bro. Oh shit, this is the big one. It's like catching
Yeah.
a shark or something." I was like, "Snap! Easy mode." And the interview never happened. Not
Yeah.
because of Melody. It was because at the time her model creator was named Digitrex. He made her model that was worth $5,000, and I didn't have any way to contact her. So after that interaction I had with her, I tried to DM her again. Again, no response because she was,
Yeah.
probably getting 10,000 million messages a day because her DMs are open. So I messaged Digitrex and I was like, "Hey, I know you're Project Melody's like avatar creator. You're also in the world that day that I was talking to her." And she agreed to come on my show. So like, how do we schedule this? Like, how do I get in contact with her? Just have an email address, like a Discord? Like, how do we set this up? And then he was just like, "You're not interviewing Melody." And I was like, "But she said yes. She's an independent person. She's a grown woman. She can speak for herself." And he's like, "She's not coming on your show because I don't want her model to get stolen." And I was just like, she could just use some random public avatar. I don't care. Like, what's more important is her voice, not what she looks like. Okay, like who cares? And he's like, "That's not gonna happen." I was like, "Okay, fuck you."
Yeah.
That guy got canceled, by the way, because
Oh, really?
apparently, like I don't know, a year later or something like that, he tried to like make Melody sign this like contract. To it's basically he was trying to extort Project Melody for $40,000 a month,
Jesus
not a
Christ.
year,
A
to
month.
be her manager.
Yeah.
That's $250,000, or sorry, $500,000 a year
Yeah. That's
because she was
insane.
popular and he
Right.
made the model.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't feel too sorry for that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he cucked
Jeez.
me. I was supposed to
Yeah.
interview her,
That
and he was like,
sucks.
"That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't know you." I was like, "But she said yes." Like, this is before V Soja, by the way. So like,
Yeah.
it's just weird stuff like that. It's kind of like I talk to the person, they say yes, but then like third party people are like, "No, we're not gonna make that happen." Just like with
Yeah.
Lawthon, just like with Project Melody.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just outside interference.
Yeah. That's sad. That's how the
Satch is
world. That's
right.
how the world and content creation is. It's. Uh.
Yeah.
Uh. Oh wait. Lugs had a follow-up question. So is there someone, and I guess you mentioned Hazard, but is there someone, and obviously without giving names unless you want to, someone that you regret interviewing, and if possible, why? Is Lugs' question.
Regret interviewing Hazard.
Yeah,
If I
Hazard.
didn't say that one, okay. I don't think so. Honestly, every interview I
Yeah.
do, even nowadays or back in the day, I wanted to interview. I wanted to know more. Even if like I felt like maybe some of the interviews were lackluster because of my own like information,
Yeah.
like my own because back in the day when I first started doing interviews, I didn't really do a lot of research, so I didn't know everything. So there was some like dead silence. You can look it up, figure it out when you watch my old interviews on YouTube. But like, there's definitely some times where it was definitely awkward or dead silence and things like that. But I don't think I regret being like, yeah, I really didn't want to interview that person. Like, no, like
Yeah.
I truly wanted to know every single person, that I brought on my show. I really don't feel that it's like, wow, that interview was so bad. I want to like erase my life or like erase that day or something like that, you know?
Yeah. I feel that. I mean, if you had someone on your show, you probably like them to some
Exactly.
degree,
It's not like I bring on someone, I'm like, I fucking hate this guy. I really hate this guy, but I
Yeah.
have to bring him on because everyone asked for it. It's like, no, I do what I want. Like, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's not too many times where that's even happened. I don't think I've ever had like an opportunity where it's just like, man, I really hate this guy, but I have to interview him because he's popular or something. Like, no, like I just choose not like there's no, I don't have a boss. It's not like real life where like Fox News or CNN or somebody's like an overlord is telling me, "Oh, you have to do this show. You have to do it. Otherwise we fire you," or something like that. It's not, you know what I mean? I don't have a manager. I
Yeah.
am my own boss.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, did anyone else have any questions for Rebel? Um,
Anybody
anyone?
else?
Anyone? Lugs, Evan, Dead Guy, Ninkasi. Cool. Dang, thought Dead Guy was Rebel's manager. I mean,
There's a cameraman.
he's the cameraman,
I do all the work.
right? Yeah.
I do 95% of what I do on my stream. I have mods that help me, of course, and help with my shows, like the bigger ones, like the showcases and stuff. And I wouldn't be, it wouldn't have a successful show if I didn't have Lofty and Dead Guy and Pixel and Pudding and everybody else. Can't remember everyone's name. Forgive me. But, all my moderators helped me out. My staff helped me out with my shows. If I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have them, it would be very scuffed.
Yeah.
Absolutely, just like, it wouldn't be where it is today. So without them, I wouldn't have a good time. It would just be a terrible time. Interviews a little bit easier because I just focus on, just one person. A
Mm-hmm.
showcase, I have like 30 people I have to manage,
Right.
so it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Interviews is pretty much just, A and B, camera,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
Um. Thank you, Angel Tail, for gifting a sub to Dead Guy. No Data Here has asks, what's your favorite thing that you didn't expect to happen as a result of streaming? Good
My
question.
favorite thing that I didn't expect from streaming to happen.
Yeah.
Um, I think the best moments is when people like so before I did interviews, I was just known as like the hillbilly guy, and that was basically it.
Yeah.
Once they started doing interviews and me just going to drinking nights, parties, or whatever, people started coming up to me and like being like, "Dude, the interview you did with like O Girls last night, that was sick, dude. Like that was awesome, bro. Like, dude, when's the next interview?" Like, when people would walk up to me and like, um, you know, what do you call it? Give me appreciation for like my hard work.
Yeah.
That was the best part. Like, because
Yeah.
before that time, I was just known as some hillbilly or just some dude that was in Team Five. Like, like kind of like,
Right.
yeah, you're in Team Five. That was funny. Hee hee XD. But now it's just like, bro, you are known for your own show. So I finally got the appreciation I finally deserved
Yeah.
after all the hard work I put in. So being recognized for something that I actually love, right? Because like Kenny Keikono was a funny character, but I don't want to be remembered forever for that character. I want to be known for something I actually like doing.
Yeah.
Interviews, showcases, whatever, role playing. I used to role play in VRChat for 3 years. I was in the Navai house role. So I was known for a little bit doing that too. But just being appreciated for my hard work, you know.
Yeah.
Because it was my show. Because before I was a co-host and people didn't even know I was the co-host. They're like, "Who's the co-host?" I don't even know. I was like, "How do you not know?" I said my name like 15 times every episode.
um.
So,
I'm just gonna ask this. Nobody else. Do you still talk to Ladle? Do you still talk to
but
her?
I still talk to Ladle.
Yeah.
Last time I've spoken to Ladle was early this year,
Earlier this year.
February, and before that,
Who knows? Yeah.
who knows at that point.
Fair.
So I've
That's
talked to her. It was really random at like a drinking event.
yeah.
So I did talk to her. She's doing all right.
Okay.
She still streams, does her own thing, but she told me I think she got a job at like a library or something,
Okay.
like a something like that. So she has a job now and she's doing her
Yeah.
own thing. And when I was talking to her, she's like, "Oh, you still do that talk show, like your own show?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm really proud of you, Rebel."
Oh,
That was a special like
that's
yeah,
sweet.
she's like I'm not mad at you. She's like I actually like really appreciate that you like continued on the talk show and still like do it and like
Oh,
still enjoy what you do. And I was telling her my plans. Like I told you like I wanted to go like VTubing and stuff like that. She's like yeah, that's probably a good idea. Like VRChat is kind of just but like if you go to like VTubing you're getting way more guests, get more people like
I think
it's the
so.
right move. So she's very supportive.
Yeah.
And that was just like a couple months ago
That's
and we were
great. That's
talking.
great to
So
hear. Yeah.
mhm.
Um, so who's? Oh well. Thank you, by the way, Fallen, for the follow. Fallen Skyflames. Question: thoughts on your community that you've built?
My community. So right now, my community is mostly just a bunch of hot anime girls that surround me on Saturday night.
Is that true?
But yeah, I mean, am I wrong? But no, I like my community. Of course I do.
Yeah.
When I see the same people in my chat, whenever I do an interview or in the audience, or when I do my hangouts every Saturday, it's always nice to see them and just hang out. And I encourage them to hang out with me or just take sexy photos and send them to my DMs.
Okay.
I mean, listen,
Fair.
fair, I do have a photo shoot category in my Discord, so that gets a lot of use. So that's why I wanted to build the Homeworld 4. Like it's for my community.
Yeah. Right.
That it all goes back to that. Like, I want to get a custom homeworld that is not just for me, but for my community, and we're gonna use it hopefully once a week. Because I used to run community events where I would just go like Just Be Club or whatever and just drink or whatever. I
Hmm.
used to do that, but nowadays I don't because I'm too busy with other things. But when I get my homeworld, it'll be something I actually actively will use,
Yeah.
just for streaming, just for hangouts. Random people in VR chat want to stream it, I don't care. Like, go ahead. So like, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing I want to do in my community. Because even if let's say like 2 years from now, like I'm a VTuber playing Minecraft or whatever the hell I'm doing
Hmm.
and interviewing people, I'll still hop in VR chat once a week to
Yeah.
go for those hangouts because a lot of VTubers do that. If you didn't know
Yeah.
that, like Nags
Yeah.
hasn't streamed VR chat in like 5 years. But he still gets on every single Friday for his Patreon hangout. You have to obviously pay for that, but
Right.
it's all off stream. It's just for him and his community. Same with like Ceravel, same with Project Melody, same with Iron Mouse. They're all my friends list. I never see them because they're busy. I can't just be like, "Hey, can I join?"
Yeah.
But like they do weekly or monthly hangouts in VR chat
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
So that's what I
For
want to do.
sure. Yeah. Um, let's see. Blue Ren asked the question before that we already addressed, but I guess if you want to address it again, you can. It was just like, what are your criteria for having someone on your stream or on your
Am I
show?
like how do I pick someone for an interview?
Yeah.
So my criteria is very varied. So basically, yes, there are some people that I do interview because they have viewers. I mean, that's a no-brainer, you know? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm going to interview someone that has 100, 200, 1,000 viewers. If I can get someone that has 10,000 viewers, fuck yeah, I'll bring them on. It
Yeah.
makes sense. But for like an average person to come on my show, it's usually people that just sort of interest me. They have a story to tell, something, they're well-spoken.
Yeah.
If there's someone that like, if I ask the question like, how'd you get into VR chat, or like, how'd you get into dancing, and if they keep answering no, or I don't care, or why are you asking me that, then they're not good for an interview. I mostly focus on people that I have an interest in. I've interviewed people that other people might not find interesting. I've interviewed people that are role players. I've interviewed people that make maps, make avatars. What else? Dancers, talk show hosts, just anybody that piques an interest in me, I
Hmm.
bring on. Just something like that. Someone that I known, like nowadays it's morally about, if I talk to them for a set amount of time and I'm like, hey, you want to come on my show? For me, I have a lot of people that always DM me, and actually just recently I had to make my DMs private only, making it so you have to be on my friends list to DM me because over the course of 3 years, hundreds and hundreds of DMs from random people. DMing me saying, "Hey, can you interview me?" And I like click on their social media links and I get nothing. And I'm like, "Who is this person?" They have like
Right.
2 followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this person. Now they're demanding to be in my show. It kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth. So
Yeah.
like,
I hear
I think
that.
it's better for me to seek out people rather than people seeking me.
Yeah.
That's the way I like to do interviews because it makes it so I'm naturally interested in the person.
Right.
Because if someone's seeking towards me, then they have to convince me why they're worth my time in a weird way.
Right.
Like for me, if I seek out guests, then I'm the one who wants to bring them on. I'm like, yeah, let's bring them on. Let's go. This is gonna be a fun time. So that's how I gauge interviews and stuff like that. So let's just say if you randomly get a DM from me or a friend request, and then I'm like, yo, I want to hang out, and then over the course of a couple weeks later, I'm like, want to come on my show, then maybe that's a clue.
Yeah. Um, so Rin with the follow-up question, I guess, is why is Team 5 or Midnight Central not a thing anymore today? Why did it fail slash got canceled?
So long story short, so Poke was the leader of Team 5. And I can't go into all the details because that's like opening up old wounds that
Sure,
I don't need to twit
yeah,
longer in the morning.
yeah.
But let's
Yeah,
just say the team was run from December of 2017 to August of 2018. And essentially, it was just a lot of internal conflicts of just like, content and relationships people had, like actual dating relationships and stuff like that. And it came to a point where, you know, it came to a point where it's like either we disband um, Team 5 or we kick out a very specific person. But the fear was that essentially people were already being removed from Team 5, so it seemed like either you had to become like a yes man and
Mm-hmm.
just boldly just follow a person, or you keep kicking people out, or you just disband the whole team. And at that point,
Yeah.
VRChat for Poke and a lot of people are kind of like on the off end. It was kind of like, in a downward slope. So we decided as a team that it was better if we disbanded and everyone goes their separate ways.
Yeah.
So, so shortly after Team 5 was disbanded, a new team was developed, and that team was called Midnight Central, which basically had all the same members as Team 5, except for a few people that didn't want to rejoin. And Team 5, or sorry, Midnight Central didn't really have any real drama or like, oh, this happened or something. It was just kind of, we tried to re-emulate Team 5 in 2019, late 2018, 2019. Excuse me, it didn't really work out. So over time, like we had like a couple of cool ideas. We had like a collab with like Team Kinetic, which that team doesn't really exist anymore, I don't think. We did like a Big Brother thing where we're in a world for 24 hours and
Mm-hmm.
you're stuck in there and just had to stream. We had a music Christmas Carol. We did like other collabs. We did a bunch of stuff, but it felt more like Minute Central was more like a group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really like a team where it's like, hey, I'm going to stream at this time. We're going to do this thing. We had a podcast, and we did that once in a while. And Lolthon was on there because he was part of the team, and a bunch of other people, and they were fun. But it was basically just a group of friends, basically. And
Yeah.
then over time, when the happening was almost all the members of Midnight Central quit streaming VRChat. They all went off somewhere else. Like Whoops, who was one of the more influential members of Team 5 in Midnight Central, he still streams. He just plays Final Fantasy 14. I think he plays something else now. But he went off to do something else. Banana Bread, who was also part of Team 5 Midnight Central, she went off to go play GTA No Pixel. So she's a GTA streamer now. Who else? I don't know. Vince, he quit streaming years ago. Drekwiz, he still plays VRChat. He doesn't stream anymore. He streams other games. Poke went off to go play GTA and random other various games, Overwatch 2, whatever he's doing. So everyone just kind of just, splintered off to do their own things,
Yeah.
because, and I will say this, a lot of people from T5 or Midnight Central still get in VRChat, but they don't stream. They get on to drink, and
Yeah.
that's about it. Drink, maybe get high and talk, whatever. Like that. That's basically. I could see my same friends if I really wanted to, probably every Friday or weekend. But I just choose not to because I want to focus on content. And I'm one of the few like outliers that still stream this game. That's from Team Five.
Yeah.
Most of them just focus on other things. Like Macmillan, he was part of Midnight Central. He works for me off and on with my talk show world. He posts on Twitter like working on games and stuff like that, or like not games like stuff. He made prop hunt in VRChat, and he also made that zombie map a while ago, like a year ago, Tokyo something. So a lot of the members just kind of exist. They just don't stream VRChat. They just do other things, and Midnight Central basically just became a place to like a off-stream drinking movie night hangout type thing. And then not even that long ago, the Discord was used like all the time for drinking. And then just recently they decided we should just like delete the Discord. And I said, yeah, go ahead. I don't care. Because go ahead. Like at this point,
Yeah.
it's whatever. I still saw some of them. I saw some of them recently, like a couple months ago. And they're like, "Oh, what's up, Rebel? Oh, dude, it's been like a long time. What have you been up to?" And I'm like, "I'm still streaming VR chat." They're like, "Dude, you're crazy, man." They're like, "Man, that was like, bro, how are you still playing this game?" They think I'm insane. They're like, "Bro, this guy's crazy. He still plays this game." Because they all play different things. They're playing like,
Yeah.
I think some of yeah, quite a few of the Midnight Central people went to GTA, and some of them hang out with Moon, who's like a really big streamer, like 20,000 viewers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember some of them was like Shiny and Odoron and Drekwiz, and they're all just hanging out with him, just playing games.
Hmm.
Just yeah, they're playing Project Zomboid like last year or something. So they're all like still around. We're all friends. It's just I kind of just still doing VRChat things. Some crazy. But maybe we'll rekindle some of those friendships if I become more of a VT because they do variety. Like they all do variety stuff. They don't
Yeah.
stream VR chat.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are all of them VTubers, or a lot of them are like on cam streaming,
Uh
right? Or
both. So
both?
some of them are IRL, some of them are VTubers.
Okay.
I know Banana and Whoops are IRL. Rex has shown his face, but he's like the Wawa Sack boy. I think he's a VTuber. I can't say for certain like every single member, like
Chef.
just talking here, like I can't remember every single person, but I would say majority of them have shown their face,
Yeah.
or a lot of them have jobs, like they just
Yeah.
work, 9 to 5 job. They get on, they drink on a Friday night type of vibe.
Yeah.
So I would say quite a few of them still stream. They just do other things. Like I said, Banana's still doing GTA stuff last time I checked. So, and she had success. Like she had a lot more success, getting hundreds or thousands of viewers doing that. So it's almost like everybody that went from VR chat to something else like found more success.
This is
And I'm just like
interesting.
stuck like why am I still playing this game? It's funny because I had a conversation like 3 years ago with like Whoops or something like that. And he
Yeah.
literally told me, he's like, why are you still playing this game?
Yeah.
He's like, you should. He didn't mean like in a bad way. He's just like, you should like, do something else. Like you have a lot of potential. You could like do something else.
Yeah.
And I mean, he isn't wrong. I mean, I did get partnered playing VR chat, but he is right. I should do some other things. So that's why I want to do VTubing
Yeah.
and take my
That's a
talk
good
show there.
idea. Yeah. Um, I think, I mean, you were talking about this already, but we'll just officially answer it again. Lugs wanted to know, who's currently on your sites that you haven't gotten a yes from that you want?
For an interview?
I guess so, yeah. I guess that's what he meant.
Uh, 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 I don't know if I really want to say that because I don't want to put pressure on
Yeah,
people.
yeah, I
I,
thought
I will I will say this. There's
that.
definitely some people that I have my sights on, but they just are very like flaky. Like I'll just say like, you want to come on? Yeah, and then I'll be like, okay, so next week, no comment. And
Yeah.
I'm like, so like the week after that, no comment. I see them in VR chat, so like, hey, like you said yesterday in an interview, you want to come on like next week? Oh, I'm just really busy. I'll DM you. No DMs.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like
That's
call
how it
people out. This
goes,
isn't like
yeah.
call out time. So
Right,
like,
exactly,
let's just
yeah.
say there are definitely people that I should have interviewed by now, but they're just like, you know, they just don't message me. So it's like,
Yeah.
so I have to cut my losses and just move on. That's the best advice I can give to any other talk shows or
Yeah,
people that
for
do
sure.
podcasts. There are some people that even ghosted me.
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to interview them. I literally booted up my stream, had everything working, and then they didn't show
Oh, the
up.
day
And I,
of? Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah. No, like I
Wow,
literally
that's
booted up my stream. I was like, yeah, we're about to interview so and so, and then they never showed up, and I was just like, yeah, they're coming any minute.
oh
Any
God,
minute,
that's
guys. Any
awful.
uh
No DM at all. Jeez, that's
no,
rude.
well they DM me after, then they said like, "Oh, I had this thing." And I was like, oh, "Okay." And I was like, "So like next week or something we could reschedule." And then nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
So there are
Oh,
some people that have like fucked me over in that way. It happens.
yeah.
So I was just like, ah, well. And at this point, I'm almost 28. So at this point, I kind of just move on. I'm
Sure.
just like, okay, whatever. Like, it's not worth my energy to get mad and be like, yeah, fuck you. I'm gonna cancel you on Twitter. I'm gonna write like a fucking 500-page
Right.
essay.
Yeah.
I just like, okay, whatever, dude. I basically just write like a mental check note. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna interact with that person anymore. That you're just wasting my
Sure.
time.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
So.
Um, Fallen Sky Flames says, also, I gotta ask the classic question. Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years from now?
Well, by that time I'll be in my 30s. But where do I see myself? Uh, probably if a millionaire.
Millionaire? That's a nice goal.
Very successful. All the bitches. In real sense, I would say by that time, hopefully I'll be a VTuber, right, guys? So
Hopefully.
hopefully I see myself like being a talk show host, like doing VTubing,
Yeah.
maybe expanding upon it, having like some sort of game shows for VTubers.
Oh, that'd
You
be
know, like
cool. Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do in VRChat, but I ended up realizing it costs a lot of money, and also trying to convince multiple people to show up at the exact same time is
That's
very,
hard.
very
Yeah.
difficult,
Yeah.
especially for a game show. It's a lot of moving parts. There are game
Yeah.
shows in VRChat. Genesis made like Family Feud and Wheel of Fortune and like whatever, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and all these other game modes. Great guy. Um, and I wanted to do like Family Feud in VRChat. That was actually one of my ideas. And the problem was convincing people to show up because I tried to run like an improv night thing where, if you didn't know, there's a guy by the name of GoBlocks.
Yeah, I do know Roblox.
And he used to run improv night for like 5 years in VRChat or like 6 years.
Yeah.
And he eventually quit because of EAC. Now, maybe he's changed his mind since then.
Yeah.
But he did improv, and I thought it was a really cool concept. And so I actually paid for a set in my world where I do improv. And like whose lines anyway. And then when I tried to run it one time, like three people showed up, and I was like, oh shit. So I tried to DM like a bunch of role players that I knew, cause from interviews or just role play I did, and a lot of them said, yeah, I'll show up. Then when it came time, they didn't show up. So
Yeah.
actions speak louder than words. You can say you're gonna show up, but when you actually aren't there, it kind of I felt like I just wasted my time. I was like, oh shit. It's really hard to run a stream if you're heavily reliant on other people to show up. That's a really bad way to run a stream. Like when you stream, it
Yeah.
should be about you. It should be about you being an entertainer, and everybody else is just an accessory. Like you're lucky to have someone be there to entertain or something like that. You shouldn't rely on like Billy and Ted and whoever else to like show up and entertain the stream.
Right.
You have to be an independent.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of streamers, they're individuals, and then once in a while they'll do like a collab, an interview, or let's play Minecraft or something like that, like networking. That's totally fine. I'm just saying, like, imagine if all your content every single day was you're with Billy or whatever, and then
Yeah.
Billy doesn't show up. Now you're fucked.
Yeah. Right. That's
So
really good advice, honestly.
yeah, like
Um,
when you watch a streamer, you should be watching for who the streamer is, not because there's someone else on the screen. Like, what the hell? You might as well just watch their stream.
yeah.
It really says a lot about a streamer. If people are watching and they're not watching for you, they're watching for the other people in the background. Like, that's not a good way to run the stream.
Completely agree.
Exactly.
Hey, Sayan. Don't we all have a VTuber plan? Hi, Gamer Atomic. Thank you for the follow. Did anyone have any more questions for Rebel? Let me scroll up. I think I might have maybe missed one. Uh,
Yeah, to drink some water.
yeah, I think
Stay
I am gonna
hydrated.
go get some water myself. Welcome, Sayan. I hope you're doing well, sweetie. I think there is a few up there. I feel like I asked all these questions. Let me double check. No questions, but Rebel is cool. Rebel's the boss.
I'm pretty cool, thanks.
There are a lot of, there are a lot of there are a lot of people here who actually don't play VRChat who just recently got into it, and they are very interested in your story. They have no idea who you are, which is
Alright, who the hell's
surprising.
this guy,
Who
man?
is this guy?
Bouncing the yoga ball. Please, please, go to the swimsuit. Go to the beach world.
Um,
Yeah.
you need to become that one professional Minecrafter. Oh, I just had a random question because I'm just curious about you. What'd you major in when you went to college?
So when I first entered college, I went in for interactive media design, which is a really fancy way of saying how to make websites.
Okay.
And I did pass, and I did get my diploma after 4 years when it's a 2-year diploma. Yikes, because I was a bad boy.
It
And I
happens.
struggled with programming, like how
Yeah.
to do Java and PHP and HTML and CSS.
Mhm.
Those are fancy ways of saying programming language. I was more of a designer.
Yeah.
So designers like Photoshop, like designing the website, while a programmer programs it. So I got my diploma, and I have it. It's in my parents' house. I live with my brother now. So I have a nice frame for it. It's been sitting collecting dust. But after after I got the diploma, I thought to myself, I don't really want to do this career. I want to do something
Yeah,
else.
that's fair.
So at the time, this is 2019. So I decided to go back to school. And because I have a diploma, I was allowed to enter a class called 3D character and animation or something like that. Basically a fancy way of saying how to make like avatars. And like it taught you like world building, like how to build worlds for game design and stuff like that. But it wasn't like VRChat avatars. We were building like it was hyper advanced. So like how you made an avatar is you had to make a skeleton like with bones, and
Mhm.
had to make every single bone.
Oh,
Then you had to
Jesus.
make the flesh on top of the bone. Then you had to make the skin, and then you had to animate it. And you're thinking, what the hell am I learning? Basically, it's like how to do like Pixar movies, or for example, making the guy who was teaching my class worked on Lord of the Rings. So he
Hmm.
programmed like Smeagol for like a 5 second frame. It took him like a month to do. But like is when Smeagol's like crawling around or something like that, and that was his segment to do.
Yeah.
And every single part had to be like it had a skeleton because every time like the character moved, you can see like the flesh, like the bone move under the flesh. So he
Right.
was teaching how to like animate, not I make a cute anime girl, you know.
Yeah.
So when I went to that class, almost every single person had a graphic design background or diploma. I had a website diploma. So when they asked me, they're like, "Yo, where's your art book? Like, where's your like drawings? Where's your sketches?" And I
Yeah.
was like panicking, like, I haven't drawn in 10 years.
Right.
And so I just said, oh, it's at home. Clueless, copium. And they're like, oh, okay. And then I looked at these other people. They were drawing like hands, feet, like
Yeah.
anatomy, everything. And I haven't drawn in 10 years. So I was like, oh my God, like, I can't do this class. What the like,
Yeah.
and I told the teacher, I was like, or the professor or whatever, I was like, I haven't drawn in like 10 years. And she's like, oh, we'll teach you how to draw from the basics. And I was like, okay. So I bought a tablet. It was like $500.
Yeah.
So I was drawing on a tablet for the first time in my life. And it was like pretty shitty drawings, but I was just trying to like learn. And then I got carpal tunnel because I was trying so
Oh,
hard.
yeah. That's
And my
rough.
right hand, and I was like, well, now I can't draw. And I was like, I'll use my left hand, and I got carpal tunnel on my left hand. And I'm like,
Oh
now I have no
God.
hands.
Oh man.
So
That's
I quit out
unfortunate.
of that, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, that was way too hard. Because if I stayed in, I would get my average was like 52 in the class, like 55, like
Yeah.
basically barely even managing, and I was working my ass off, like trying to like do everything. So I quit out of that program, and then my mom's like, well, you need to do something in your life, okay? Like this is before COVID, before I got partnered, and before I made money on Twitch. So I was like, you have to do something in your fucking life. You're like 25, like at the time. I was like, well, you got to do something. So I decided to go back again, this time for office administration executive,
Mhm.
which is the entry level class. So basically, any fresh 18-year-old will be in my class, and I'm 25 at the time, like an old man. And everybody in my class was like fresh high schooler or middle-aged woman. So so I introduced myself like to the other people sitting next to me. They're like, "Oh yeah, I just finished high school." I was like, "Yeah, I've been in college for 5 years." And they're like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "Yeah, this ain't my first rodeo." And they're like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "I'm 25." They're like, "Holy shit, you're an old ass man." And I was like, "Bro, what
Oh
the
no.
fuck?"
Yeah.
But the classes I was taking were stupid easy. Like it was almost an insult to like my intelligence because it was so
Yeah.
brain dead easy. Every class was like literally like something you would take in like high school. Like literally one of the classes was how to type on a keyboard,
Oh God.
unironically.
Yeah.
So like I was like I already know how to fucking type. I've been doing it for 20 years. Like so I got like 98 in that class because I know how to
Yeah.
type.
Yeah. Right.
And one of the classes, I'm Canadian, so we say grade 12 or senior math. And I haven't taken math in like 7, 8 years, but I still can remember everything. And I got like high 80s. So I was like, oh shit. So my first semester I actually got like high 80 average. And I was on the dean's list. I actually got like a break or whatever. They paid some of my tuition. because I was just such a high stellar student. And then I did one semester. The only class I struggled with was accounting, and that was like the bulk of what where I was learning how to do. It was basically an office administration executive is a really fancy way of saying like working in an office, but having a diploma doing it. Most of the time, people either just go in, luckily, having no diplomas. Either they get a certificate, which is a 1 year, or for me, if you get the 2 year, which is an actual associate's, then I could work in any office, essentially. And I would be focusing on the accounting department. So essentially, I would be balancing the left and rights, like the debits and credits for, like, oh, we bought $500 of office supplies. Well, then I have to credit this account and debit this account. And, oh, did you use, accounts payable? A bunch of bullshit, accounting shit. And, so I did one semester and then COVID happened in May of 2020. And I was like, man, this sucks. I was like, I was getting 90, so I could do this online
Yeah.
copium,
Yeah.
clueless, aware, emote. And my grades started to slip, not like to the point I was failing, but just started like slipping down to like the 70s. And the
Yeah.
reason why was because suddenly you have like 10,000 students or 50,000 or whatever the hell my college had. Suddenly you're all online,
Yeah.
every single student. So when I tried to email my professors or teachers or instructors to help me, because I would struggle sometimes in class, but the teacher was right there. Like I'm like, yo, I don't understand this.
Right.
They
Yeah.
they would spawn in like a rogue. Yo, instant transmission, Goku. Yeah, this is how you do this. Okay, awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
And especially when it's math and stuff, and like especially like
Right.
certain types of it, you can't skip step one, two, three, four, five. You have to do it in steps. So if you can't do step one, you can't do step six. So and it's hard to explain that online. So I tried to DM some of them, and it took them 3 weeks to get back to me because of
Oh,
such the
Jesus.
influx of students. So
Yeah.
I was just like, this is terrible. Like I'm going to really struggle here unless it's in class. So I said to myself, I'm just going to withdraw, and I'll come back when COVID's ended.
Yeah.
And well, COVID's kind of ended now, but that was 3 years
Kind
ago.
of.
So basically, I just went full force into streaming ever since that happened, May of 2020, and that's how I got partnered, like within
Yeah.
like 3 months and all that jazz. And here I am today. Now,
Cool.
do I have any intentions of heading back to college? Probably not. I'm going to be almost 28 now, so
I feel
it is what
that.
it is. I'm just hoping that by then this year that I get my world. And more importantly, I get my avatar for Live 2D, and I debut, and I do all the interviews, and I do stuff like that. And I really hope that like I go back up to where I once was, because before I had like 100 viewer average, I had like 180 at peak, and people love my interviews. Now I get like maybe 20, 30, if even that. So I'm hoping I get back up to there, do a bunch of collabs, rise back up. Because if I don't, by next year, I'm gonna have to literally like quit streaming and everything and just work in, I don't know, some factory or McDonald's or some shit or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
uh,
unfortunate.
Unfortunate, but I think. Well, let me ask you the next question, which is, what's the story behind your username? What's the story behind your username?
My username that one Rebel. So, uh, I got my username originally from Xbox Live, and at the time, this is grade 10, so that was like, well, I was 15, so that was 12 years ago. So I was playing Xbox Live Black Ops 1, and uh, you had to pay for your name changes, 800 Microsoft points, I think, at the time, something like that. And so my name, I wanted to have a cool name, and everyone in Call of Duty had like it's something, so ITZ. I say
Mm-hmm.
Z, not Z, because that's American. I say British people
Yeah,
like me or or
Zed.
Canadians say Z. But anyway, it was like it's Rebellion. That was my name on Xbox Live because I was like, I'm cool. And the reason why I called Rebellion or Rebel is because when I used to play first-person shooters like Call of Duty, Black Ops, CS:GO, Rainbow Six Siege, stuff like that, I would do like really unorthodox like things. Either I would handicap myself, or I would like do the complete opposite. Like I would be like that wild card basically when I was
Mm-hmm.
playing games. And then I had the name That One Rebel when I made my YouTube account because I didn't want to be called It's Rebellion anymore. That's weird. So I was like, I'm just going to call myself That One Rebel. So I did. I really wanted the name Rebel, but I can't on Twitch because apparently it's been banned and you can't have the name. And it's been 10 years of Sag
Oh,
Pry
that's sad.
emoji.
Yeah.
So when I was doing YouTube 10 years ago and I had the name That One Rebel, I'd play Gmod Trouble in Terrorist Town. And again, I remember, playing all my videos were like in public servers I would just frequent. And I would like imagine like 30 players playing Trouble in Terrorist Town. And I happen to be a traitor. It's a round-based game where sometimes you're an innocent, sometimes you're a traitor, sometimes you're a detective, kind of like how murder is in VRChat. And but in Trouble in Terrorist Town, everyone gets a gun. So I would play as a traitor, and if I'm lucky, I'll record the footage, and I would go on these crazy like rampages where, as a traitor, your objective is just to kill every innocent and every detective, and that's basically it. And if you fail, then the innocents win, right?
Yeah.
So I would like get really good at the game and like use all the trader menu stuff like teleports, disguiser, which would hide your name, and like all these different trader weapons, sounds pistol. So basically I was just really good at the game mode, and it's funny when like I would record and people are like, dude, it's Rebel, he's the traitor, he's the traitor, and like the comms are global, so anyone can hear it, right? No matter where you are in the world or the map, Gmod. So when that would happen, I would just go on the mic and be like, I don't care, come get me. Like I'm just like Rambo basically. I'm just like, come and get me, bitches. And I just pulled the shotgun, boom. I'm like literally the Terminator. I was just like mowing everyone down, and people are like, dude, how is he still alive? Like, how is he killing everyone? What the? Like people were freaking out. They thought like I was cheating or hacking because I was just like a one-man army. I just was really good at like knowing map knowledge and knowing where like a choke point is, or like, uh-oh, I'm getting trapped. Like six people are rushing me, so I'll just teleport away across the map and heal back up and keep going with the rampage. So that's where the
That's
name
where the
came
name.
from.
No, Wang, he's still alive. Says
Yeah,
that
no, they'll freak
guy.
out. Like one time I actually got banned from a server because they said I was aimbotting, which is funny. Well, I'm gonna turn off my light tracker because it's like derping out, so I'm gonna turn it back on.
Yeah.
But so they thought I was hacking because
Oh.
oh shit. Oh, we fixed
Oh.
it. So what I mean by that is, okay, so Gmod doesn't have recoil really of specific guns. So
Mm-hmm.
at the time, the sniper rifle didn't have recoil, which is really bad for a video game. See, when you play Call of Duty or Battlefield or something or CS:GO and you just like no scope, like shoot like this without like aiming down the sights, you just shoot a gun. Normally your bullet's gonna go here, here, whatever. So in Trouble in Terrorist, your bullet goes whatever the crosshair is. So if the crosshair is on your head and I'm just standing here like this, it just instantly kills you. It's like you just click the heads.
Yeah.
So people didn't realize that. So I would just walk around with a sniper rifle, and people like, oh, this guy can't do anything. He's got a sniper rifle, and I have a shotgun, so clearly I'm gonna win. So I'll just go like, and they're like, ugh, and then the sniper rifle does 200 damage. You only have 100 health. So you just die from a sniper. So imagine just me walking around with a sniper rifle and just killing everyone casually without scoping in. So people are like, he has to be aimbotting. Everybody's dead from a headshot. What? What? So, but people just didn't understand. The game was like very arcadey. It wasn't supposed to be realistic. So clearly, you can just walk around with a sniper and just no scope people constantly. It's like a little cheat code. Or like if you use the deagle, same thing. You just click the person's head, it just kills them instantly. 137 damage. I remember all the damage, like types and like how much it does. Yeah. That's how analytical I was. I was like, "Oh, this gun does exactly 50 damage. Nice."
Congrats,
So,
your comment got yeeted hard. What was that comment in Kasi? I I don't even know what to think about that. Well, I don't know. I'm just gonna read it to you, even though my mod deleted it. Bob, thank you, Bob. Rebel definitely has a fuck Trudeau flag on his truck. I don't know what that's insinuating, but
Oh, that's the Prime Minister of Canada.
Well, yeah, I know it's the Prime Minister of Canada, but I don't know if they're insinuating that you're super anti-Trudeau. I don't know enough about Trudeau to make a comment on
Oh, I'm
that.
not political at all, so I don't have a
There you
driver's
go.
license, so I don't have a truck.
All right, there you go. There's your answer.
Yeah, that is your answer, bro. Listen, I don't politics are not something I talk about, or religion and things like that, because
I like that.
there's always one side's like, yeah, this side and this side. Dude, I'm sitting here as a
Yeah,
hot anime girl, dude. Who cares?
I totally feel that. Um, uh, Give me one sec. I need to go grab some water, but there's a couple other questions. What do you think of France in the meantime? What do you think of France?
France, like the country.
I guess so. This is their first message, and they made an account like 2 days
Yeah,
ago. So I don't know how
yeah. What I
serious
think
they
about
are.
France, the country, it sounds pretty cool. Maybe I'll go to Paris one day. I never traveled once in my life. And I want to travel the world someday. I got a passport, I never used it, so I'd love to go to France. Who doesn't want to see the Paris or I don't know, see Normandy? I don't know what else is relevant and
Normandy.
yeah, go to the Normandy beaches.
That's where they
Yeah. I
stormed.
don't know. What else do you do in France? Drink some wine,
Get
eat some
robbed,
cheese, say
apparently.
la
I don't
baguette.
know.
I don't know.
Yeah. So you
See
never
the
traveled? Okay, interesting.
yeah, see the Eiffel Tower. Why
I
not?
see the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. So I was gonna ask you if you ever went to TwitchCon or if you've ever like met
No,
anyone from
I
VR.
want to.
No. Yeah.
I would love to go to TwitchCon. I don't have any plans right now. People always ask me every year, yo, when are you gonna go to TwitchCon? And I'm like, bro, I'm poor. I'm in the poverty line according to my taxes. You think I can just travel?
It's fair.
So, yeah, unfortunately, I can't travel right now, guys. Maybe one day
No.
when
Oh.
I got some money. So, it is what it is. I love to though, because people want me to go to TwitchCon. It's because I interviewed a lot of people. So people want me to like IRL be like, "Yo, what's going on? Now we're IRL. Now we're interviewing." Yeah, And I'm unopposed to it, but
Yeah.
it'd be nice to be like, "Hey, I interviewed that guy.
Yeah.
Why aren't you a
It's.
hot anime girl? What the hell? Where's the personalities?"
It's It is. I only went one time last year, and it was super super fun. Just meeting your VR friends. I think it's
Oh
really
yeah,
fun. People want to see your red hair and booba IRL bet.
yeah,
Yeah.
true,
Thank you,
relatable. I actually
Renegade.
hired a cosplayer to look like me once.
Wait,
True
really?
and real. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
pretty cool. Like on
Last year
Five
for
or
April
something. Like,
Fools.
where did you do this? How did you find this person?
Their name is Pasha Vixen. I've known them for like 4 years in VRChat,
Oh, okay.
and they're a cosplayer. That's their job. So they told me they wanted to cosplay me years ago. It never happened, and
Yeah.
so someone else was supposed to cosplay me, and then they canceled, and then they refunded me, and so I asked Pasha. I was like, hey, this person canceled on me and didn't want to like do the cosplay. Do you want to cosplay as me? And so I bought her the outfit I had at the time, which is an old workout outfit, and then she made it, and then she did a photo shoot, and then I also said, because it was during March that it was made, so I was like, I have a dumb idea. What if I did an April Fool's joke, where it's still on Twitter, you can find it. Basically, I recorded myself in VR in the outfit that she was cosplaying in. And I'm just like saying some random dumb shit like, "Oh man, oh guys, I'm having a good time," and with like my really bad acting skills. I was like, "Oh, I feel really sick. My chest feels really tight. I need to get out of VR." So I take off the headset, and then it goes to her IRL taking off her headset, and she's like, "Whoa, I'm an anime girl. What the fuck?"
That's pretty
She's
funny.
like, "Whoa, I'm a high anime." She's like, "Oh, I have one of these large flotation devices on my chest. What the hell?" Yeah, that was basically the video.
Uh,
And it was posted last year, and people are like, "What the hell? Rebel's a woman?" I'm like, "Yep, true and real. See, that's what
True
I
and
look like."
real. I have these IRL. No way. How many?
Yeah,
This is not a question for Rebel, but I'll ask it anyway. How many cans of SpaghettiOs would it take to fill a bathtub? I don't know, Lil Cannoli. I don't. You ever
I
have
don't know.
SpaghettiOs?
No, but I had pasta for the first time in like 10 years
Wait,
tonight.
really? Oh, interesting. Is there a reason why you didn't have pasta?
So the
I
last
don't
time I
like it.
had pasta, which was spaghetti, was when I was like 17 or 18, and is when I finally got diagnosed. I was allergic to eggs.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well,
Allergic to
I had
eggs.
a pasta like a month ago, but this is the first time I made my own pasta. And then I had some pasta sauce, and it was very good. I was like, I've been missing out.
Pasta's really fucking good.
Yeah, this sauce was killer. It's straight imported straight from Italy, so it's good shit. Yeah,
uh,
I had a troubled childhood. I wasn't diagnosed, and like imagine like it's your birthday and then you dread eating your own birthday cake.
yeah.
And then I would throw up and get sick every year.
But you didn't know until you were like 17, he said?
I was still, yeah,
Dude,
17,
that's
18 when I got
brutal.
diagnosed.
So you were
Yeah.
throwing up every year eating your own birthday
Well, I throw
cake?
up like
Oh
multiple
my.
times a year. Like they just thought I had food
Jeez.
poisoning or I was faking it or I had some cough or cold from kids in school because you know kids are dirty and wipe their nose and everything. So yeah, my mom fed me like scrambled eggs when I was a kid. And
Yeah,
she's like,
that's
I
not
never
good.
heard of anyone that doesn't like eggs. And I ate it and I threw up.
Yeah, interesting. I
I remember
actually.
Easter, I had like a chocolate egg that had like a hard-boiled egg inside. Threw up from
Oh
that.
God, what? Who would make such a?
I don't know.
I've never,
Canadians.
I've never heard of a chocolate egg with an actual egg inside of it.
Hard-boiled egg
An
inside, yeah.
actual hard-boiled egg. That sounds really gross.
I don't know.
Girls as
Whatever.
slave for. I would assume a slave for. I don't think that's a good use of the word slave. The very sound of that makes me sad. Yeah, actual egg. No, it's actually cursed.
Yeah,
Everyone's
if you throw an
saying.
egg at me, I start
Hey,
melting like the
Sally.
Witch of the West.
So you just throw up? Do you get like hives or something? You get like
I mean, if you were to
rash?
throw an egg on my skin, yeah, I'll get hives. If I
Oh,
was to
that
ingest it,
sucks.
yeah, I would like. So the defining moment is when I had spaghetti. I had spaghetti many times as a kid, but the difference was we had egg noodles rather than normal regular like wheat or corn noodles.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, "This is the same spaghetti you've had 50 times. The only difference is there's egg in it. Who cares?" So I ate it, and then I started getting really, really sick, like when I
Yeah.
was at my computer, and then I couldn't like breathe. Like my throat was swollen up,
Oh
and
God.
my whole body was red like a lobster, like my hair.
Oh yeah.
So I was like dying. And then
Jesus.
I started calling for my mom, but I was like really like raspy. I was like, "Mom." Oh, like I was just dying basically. And then my brother walks in and he's just like, "What the fuck?" He was like, "What's happening? Is he dying?" Like, and my mom
Yeah.
comes in and she's like, "What the hell happened to you? Like, you got food poisoning?" And she's like, "That can't be right. We all ate the same thing." And then it finally clued in. Oh, the only difference between this spaghetti and the other spaghettis would have had egg noodle. And then they went to the hospital, not that night, but days later, got an appointment to go to the hospital to get an allergen test, and they stuck in my arm with 50 needles to tell which I was allergic to, because they wanted to check
Oh,
like
is that how
other
that
types of things
works?
like
Oh, okay.
molds and
Yeah.
grass and shit. And the only thing that I was allergic to was eggs. And they also took blood work because they wanted to do a blood test too. Now the doctor did tell me, he says if you don't react by getting a hive and your blood work comes back false or negative, I will forcibly have you eat an egg and I'm going to observe you.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, that's fucked up. And
Yeah.
he's because you know they're basically saying if your body if you don't get any hives and you don't have anything in your blood, that means that it's all mental. Like it's like you're
Oh,
making yourself
yeah.
sick is basically what they're saying, like I'm crazy or some
Right.
shit.
Yeah, which.
And unfortunately, that didn't happen. Okay, I'm actually allergic. Okay, so they didn't forcibly strap me down and tie me up and force me to eat things and observe like I'm like Frankenstein's monster or some shit.
Yeah.
So when I got my blood work back, I was 18. So what that means is that they can't talk my mom or dad anymore. I'm an adult. They can only talk to me. So they called me up, and the nurse was like, "We have your results."
Hmm.
And I said, "Okay." They said, "Is this who am I speaking to?" I'm like, "Yep." They said, "This is confidential between you and the doctor." I was like, "I don't care if other people know, but sure, whatever." And then they're like, "So on our results, either a 0 means you're not allergic, and 1 means you are. I said, okay, so what's my result? They said, over 100.
Oh God.
I was like, I thought you said the scale was 0 or 1. They
Yeah.
said, yes, you scored well over 100. I was like, so what does that mean? And they're like, oh, it means you're definitely allergic. So if you were to like eat a raw egg, you would probably unfortunately pass away or die.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So I was like, oh. So I was like, what do I do? And they're like, oh, well, you just talk to your family doctor, get a prescription for an EpiPen and carry it for the rest of your life. Also, you can choose to get retested every 5 years, because if you don't know, and a lot of people every 5 or 10 years, their body changes
Oh.
for like allergens. So sometimes people can be allergic to nuts, and then 5 years later they're not. It happens.
Yeah.
The body changes out hormones and shit and whatever. I
Yeah.
never got retested because I still am allergic, because I had a allergic reaction multiple times last year, so I know I'm still allergic. So I've
Yeah.
also had this for my entire life since I was like 4, that I can remember. So yeah, I carry EpiPen for the rest of my life.
So you use an EpiPen right now. What?
Well, I never actually used it. I should
Yeah.
have, but yeah,
I mean,
I've
you
had some
only
close
use
calls.
it. So you use it when you like accidentally have
Yeah,
an egg
that's
or
right. Yeah.
something.
So
Yeah.
EpiPen is you stick your thigh. You see this thick thigh right here? So
Yeah.
it's
There's a.
blue to the sky, orange to the thigh, and then you just fucking and then you hold it down for 10 seconds, and then you call 911.
Oh God.
So
Sounds like
so
a
an EpiPen
horrible
doesn't
night.
save you or like cure you. It just gives you temporary relief for like 10 minutes. That's all it does.
Oh, okay.
It gives you enough time that ambulance can come by and pick you up, and then take you to the hospital, and they'll fix you up. Probably like pump your stomach or whatever the hell they need to do.
Ninkasias. Oh, girls, I don't know why you're asking me. Help me understand. How does it get that bad? I don't want my children to literally die because of an egg. Yeah, how did you go 18 years? I guess you just did. I don't know.
Uh, I was just very picky eater.
Okay.
You gotta understand, like, when I was eating dinner with my family, I I wouldn't eat what everybody else was eating, because I was a picky eater and I just refused to eat a lot of things because I don't know what was making me
Justifiably
sick.
picky, yeah.
So my mom would just cook me a hot dog and tell me to shut up and eat a hot dog every day.
And that didn't make you sick.
That didn't make me sick. So I would just
No.
like end up eating hot dogs, hamburgers, and like chicken like every day.
There
Or
you
like
go.
I'll give an example. I remember I ate McDonald's a few times, and McDonald's depends on what you get, but some of them do have mayonnaise or Big Mac sauce on them, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
I ate it, and Big Mac sauce has mayonnaise in it. Mayonnaise has egg in it. It's made of eggs. So I remember eating McDonald's and feeling like absolute shit. Like I just thought like eating McDonald's was just bad for you because it just makes you feel terrible, but you eat it because it's cheap.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? Like I have my own
It is
mental like
true, but
reasons why something tastes like ass. I just thought,
yeah.
oh, McDonald's sucks because it's cheap and it's fucked up. Like that's why I don't eat McDonald's. The end.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, or like I remember as a kid, I would go to kids would have their birthday party, and like kids would like bring like 30 cupcakes, right, or whatever, and everybody gets one, and then I would be like sitting there like, uh-oh, uh, I don't want to eat a cupcake. I don't like cupcakes. And then other kids would be like, what do you mean? Just eat it. It's rude to not eat
Yeah.
something that's
Right.
given to you. So
Yeah.
I would just like conveniently like just put it in my pocket, and it would just like melt or like fucking or like what I would do is I would just hold it, and then just like when no one's looking, I'll be like and just like
Just
toss
throw
it
it
in the fucking
away.
trash. Or
Yeah.
one time I took it outside because it was recess right after, and I just held onto it like this, and I was like, what am I gonna do with this? So I just saw some random kid, and he was just like eating, and he's like eating some other. I was like, you want another cupcake? He's like, no way, dude. And he was like so happy. I was like, yeah, here you go. He's just like, oh my God, you're the best, man. You for real? I was like, I'm for real, man. He's like, oh my God, you're the coolest, man. I made his day, bro.
Uh, that's cute.
A lot of times
That's
when I
cute.
had birthday cake,
Yeah.
I would just eat vanilla ice cream, straight up.
Yeah.
I'd be sitting there with my bowl of vanilla ice cream. Everyone else just eating cake.
Yeah.
And my aunts and uncles and cousins are like, "What the hell's wrong with him?" They're like, "Oh, he's just a picky eater." And also,
Yeah.
I was skinny growing up, So
Yeah.
like they're just like, what's wrong with that kid?
Yeah.
It looks like Smeagol running around. Like, what's wrong with him? Uh, So I would just eat like I just didn't like a lot of things. Or like I remember oh, this is the worst. I remember there's a person that lived across from me, my neighbor, and they were like Vietnamese, and they're pretty close to my family in terms of like neighbors. So they moved away because they're all like doctors and rich or whatever. So they got like a newer house, and so we were invited to the housewarming party,
Yeah.
and so is myself. I have two brothers, two older brothers. So my other brother and my mom and my dad. We go. And my mom tells me, "Oh, I should bring something to like, is because all the adults are gonna talk to each other. You know, kids hang out with other kids, hang out with adults. So my mom was like, "Oh, you should bring like Monopoly or something." So I bring Monopoly, with me into the house, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, all the other kids are downstairs in the basement." I was like, "Okay." So I go down in the basement, and all the kids are there, and it's just my brother and I, and we're the only white people, just saying, that's the truth, there. And everyone else is Vietnamese, and we're just hanging out. And then I was like, "Hey, who wants to play Monopoly?" So I put the thing on the table, and everyone just looked at me like I had three heads, and I was like a mutant or like something. They just like kind of like rolled their eyes, or like, "Who the hell are you?" Like, fuck, like, what do you want? And I was just like, oh, so clearly it wasn't the vibe. So I was just like, well, I can't hang out with the kids because they don't want to talk to
Yeah.
me.
Huh.
So I would go back upstairs, and we got a tour of the house, so I know where all the bathrooms are or whatever. And I'm trying to talk to my parents. My parents just go downstairs, like all the adults are getting drunk, playing karaoke or whatever, and I can't hang out with them. I'm like
Yeah.
10. So I was just like, well, and my mom's like, we're gonna stay for dinner. And I'm like, uh-oh,
Oh
dinner.
gosh, yeah.
Oh shit. And I never really had a lot of Chinese food, cause or Vietnamese food at this point. So like, and obviously they use egg noodles and fucking whatever else they make in
Yeah.
it, right? So like I start eating it, and then like the owner was like looking at me. I'm like, "Yeah, it's really good, really good." And I'm like,
Oh
and it,
god.
and I have like early, so my body tells me when something is allergic. And how do I know this? So my tongue is my first defense. So when I eat something that I'm allergic to, my tongue like tells me it tastes like absolute garbage. It's like putting garbage in your mouth. Like it just tastes disgusting. So when I was eating it, I was like, this tastes really good. I had to like force it
Oh
down. I'm like,
god.
oh my God. I was like, bro, I just don't want to be like offensive.
Yeah.
So I ate it, and then I like threw the rest away, and then I started feeling really sick, like incredibly ill. I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna throw up, and I don't want to throw up like all these kids around think I'm a weirdo. Like what the fuck? So I go upstairs where nobody is, and I go into the toilet, and I'm such in a hurry that I don't even lock the door. I close the door, but I don't lock the door. So I sit down in the toilet, and I'm just sweating profusely, like I
Yeah.
ran a marathon, because I'm like so sick and just fucked up. And like I said, I didn't know I was allergic at the time. So eventually, hurl over and just throw up in the toilet. I didn't miss or anything. I just went in the toilet, and while I'm like on my knees, just throwing up,
Oh
and I
god.
just finished throwing up. The husband comes in, he opens the door because he's like giving a tour to some other people,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh my God!" He didn't see me throwing up. He just saw me hunkered over the toilet. He's like, "Oh my bad. You're supposed to lock the door." I was just like, "Oh my bad." Uh, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, next time lock the door. Like, what are you doing?" I was like, "My bad, bro." And he closes the door, and then I'm just like, then I continue throwing up because he doesn't know I'm vomiting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like white as a ghost I see in the mirror. I'm like, oh my, I'm so fucked up.
Yeah.
And then I go to flush the toilet.
Yeah.
The toilet doesn't flush.
Oh
The toilet
god.
doesn't flush. I was like,
Oh man.
and it wasn't like it was like backed up or anything. I just think the fucking toilet didn't work. Because nowadays,
Yeah.
like if I plug it, I know how to fix it in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I know how to fix shit. So like, I was like, oh shit. Like the toilet just keeps like going back up. It's just full of vomit. I'm like, oh shit. So I just closed the lid, and then
Just
I'm like,
leave.
well, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
So I go downstairs, and my mom's like, why you look so ill? And I'm like, oh, Mom, I just threw up in the toilet. And she's like, what? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. can we leave? My mom's like, oh my God, you're such a disappointment. Like, what the hell's wrong
What?
with you? Yeah,
What?
cause my mom wanted to stay longer, and then they had to leave because of me. So they're like, you're such a, what the hell's wrong with you?
Oh, that's gonna. I mean, you're fucking dying.
Yeah, I was dying. It was before I got diagnosed.
Oh
So we all
man.
left, and I'm sure that probably guy walked in and probably like, that fucking
A
kid, he
fucking
fucking
white
broke
kid.
my toilet. Fuck that guy. Fuck that kid. If I never met them ever again, but if I did, I would have been like, listen, I was allergic, I would have died, so you would have willingly poisoned me, and fuck you. Give me all your money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly, bitch. Yeah, fuck, whatever. But yeah, so that was an interesting time that I almost died.
Seems like you almost
And
died multiple times.
I died almost many times. Okay, it happens. I remember when I was like 4, the first time I can remember it was when I was like 4 or 5, and we're at school, we're having green eggs and ham, like Dr. Seuss style.
Oh God.
And I and I go outside for recess, and I just get really ill, and I just start vomiting all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's just green puke, like.
Oh God, dude.
And then they're all just like, they're like, well, I guess you got to go home now. So I go home, and they're like, oh, it must have just been the food coloring, or
Right.
maybe the
Yeah.
ham because it's
Maybe that
green, you
green.
know.
I mean, that
I was
probably
like,
didn't help, but yeah, not the
yeah,
eggs.
every birthday, it
No
was
one's
pretty
allergic to
bad.
eggs.
Yeah,
Beware.
I met another guy who was allergic to eggs though in VR.
Yeah.
So I was
Did
like,
you
I know
did you
your
have a
pain, bro.
yeah.
But like, well, people are diagnosed when like they're 4. I was diagnosed when I was 18,
18, I know. It's
17, 18.
insane.
So like, I suffered. Like, I could have died at any
Survivor.
point in time. You know, it was so bad. I remember like one time I went to the zoo, and we had a fun time at the safari and everything. And then we come back home, and I'm like, all right, it's cake time. Eat cake. Starts vomiting. They're like, what the hell? You were fine for like the rest of the day. What happened?
Yeah.
And nowadays I just get ice cream cake. It's pretty dope.
It's pretty good. Pretty
Yeah,
delicious ice
yeah.
cream cake.
Yeah, ice
I
cream
think I
cake's
have
got
some
like
ice
chocolate
cream
and
right
fudge in it.
now.
It's pretty dope.
Oh god,
Yeah,
this
some little
sounds so
Smarties on
fucking
it. Get some
good.
Oreos on there.
Wait, what are
Yeah.
Oreos? That's
You can get like chocolate
I was like, what are you
ice
eating?
cream cake. Oh my god. It's different. It's also different, like actually high quality chocolate, like some like
This is making me
Belgium
so
or
hungry. Holy shit.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I ate pasta before this,
Or
like I
Oreos.
said.
Oh, Oreos. Okay, yeah. Oh man, that sounds so good. Wait, so what
Yeah,
made you
that's
have pasta all of a sudden? You're just like, fuck.
uh, so my brother's I guess girlfriend or whatever
Yeah.
cooked pasta like a month ago, and I was like, I don't know, I haven't had pasta in 10 years. I don't want to die again. Because you know what I mean? Like to me, like I'm like anxiety.
Yeah, I
Because
don't
like
blame
I don't
you.
know what's gonna poison me. Like fucking hell. Like, you know, whenever I go to the grocery store, I have to look at instructions,
Yeah.
like at everything.
Yeah.
So I had it, and I was like, wait, this doesn't taste terrible, and I'm also not dying. It was because they bought vegan
Yeah.
noodles, and the pasta was made from scratch, so it was fine. So I was like,
Okay.
oh, sick.
Cool.
And then my mom's like, oh, you should buy more pasta. You need to eat some variety in your life because I only eat like chicken and like French fries and like that's basically all I eat is
It's
just
just
chicken
chicken
every day.
French fries. Yeah. Sounds good, but
Yeah, that's me every day. So I decided, okay, I'll try some
shit.
pasta. I'll make my own. So I learned how to do it and opened up the jar of pasta sauce I had and I put it on it. I was like, damn, I've been missing out. This is
Yeah.
actually pretty dope.
Yeah.
So
I want some pasta.
yeah, yeah, that's what I had earlier before I logged on. That's why I was late. I was like, I just need
You
my
see?
pasta, bro. I need my pasta.
Oh,
Yeah, most of the time I cook everything from scratch. Like if it's like
makes
raw chicken
sense.
wings. I've been
Yeah.
sick like 3 or 4 times in the last year because of food
From
or
food
because of
poisoning?
I eat allergens. So like one of them was because of a croissant.
Yeah, that'll have egg in it.
Yeah. One of them was because of chicken.
Oh, what? It had egg
So
in it or something?
it
Breading
was
or
like
something?
grocery yeah, it was breaded grocery store chicken
Yeah.
where they used egg to like bind the flour or whatever. Kind of
Yeah.
like how most people deep fry stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other time was from Pizza Hut
Pizza
because
Hut.
they have boneless wings, and again, it was breaded with.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so what
Man.
I learned after those 2 episodes was essentially just cook my own chicken wings, and I just put barbecue sauce on them. And I also got an air fryer. My mom bought me an air fryer last December,
Yeah.
and I use it once in a while. But when I use it, oh my God, just like the barbecue. I'm just telling you, I'm not sponsored, but it's pretty good.
Everyone says the air fryer is like I have one, I never use it. But everyone says it's like the best thing ever. Everything.
Yeah, you just put chicken wings in there, 20 minutes, done.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do
That's me.
that.
That's me once in a while. I just pop some chicken wings in there, put some barbecue sauce.
Dead guy says this guy cooks everything now in that thing. That's not what they just said, but do you? Everyone apparently does.
Huh? Oh, yeah. When I
Air
feel like
fryer.
I cook in there, yeah, you could technically in the air fryer that I have, you can cook almost anything.
That's what I
Not like
hear.
you couldn't cook pasta though. You can't like
Yeah.
just put yeah, just put some water in there,
Some
boil it
dry
up.
ass pasta in there. Yeah.
It's when I feel like it because the problem was during the winter, it's very very cold where I'm from in Canada. So like I don't want to be sitting there freezing my balls off trying to barbecue something. So it's easier just to have an air fryer because the air fryer is basically just like a barbecue.
Yeah.
Like it tastes the same to me. So I get an air fryer so I could barbecue chicken and whatever I
Sounds
want,
really good.
sausages, stuff like that. Or I just buy a lot of pizzas. I buy a lot of frozen pizzas and pop that bitch in the oven for 20 minutes.
Yeah, man, I could
Yeah.
go for some of that. Are there any brands of frozen pizza that you like specifically? I don't know if there's.
I just get one because it's cheap and I'm poor. So it's oh god, what the guy? Not Delicia, not DiGiorno. It's
Not
like
DiGiorno,
no, it was like Doctor something.
Doctor Pizza.
Fuck. It's like Dr.
What?
Giuseppe's. That's what it was.
Oh,
Giuseppe's
doctor.
Pizza.
It's a
Just,
doctor.
I
Doctor
don't know if it was Dr.
Giuseppe's.
Giuseppe or Giuseppe's Pizzas or something. It was like
Oh.
they're like medium-sized pizzas for like $6, and it's like deluxe for meat lovers.
Hey, kitty. That sounds
So
really
those,
good. Is
I
it
mean, they're pretty alright. I mean, it's not as
just
good
meat
as like
lovers?
Domino's or something, but I mean, shit for six
Gets you
bucks.
by. Yeah.
That's like two. That's like two meals for me. That's two dinners
Yeah.
for $6. For a frame of reference, I went to Arby's.
Yeah.
I bought a. Well, my dad was eating too, so we had two medium roast beefs and one small. That was $21.
Yeah. Fast food is fucking expensive these days. Well, just
So
eating
I
out
could I
is.
could buy three frozen pizzas worth that much,
Yeah.
and that's six meals compared to one.
Yeah.
So what the fuck?
Yeah. That's so many
Yeah,
pizzas. But pizzas are good.
yeah. I went to Costco to get my eyes tested, and I have to go back on Friday to get my new glasses after 7 years.
Yeah.
But I never go to Costco, but I went there. There's some good stuff you can get. Like you can buy a big bag of chips like this big for like $7.
Yeah. They get it so big. Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is one guy, so I'm just like I have
It's
to
a
eat
lot
this
of
all.
chips.
Yeah, a lot of chips, a lot of chips. So I decided to buy with other things. I bought like a bunch of Pepsi. I bought pepperoni because I eat a lot of pepperoni sticks for like
Oh.
lunch and stuff.
Yeah. Those are
I bought like
good.
a big like container for like $10. You go to the grocery store, you get half of that for the same price.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Costco's the best.
damn. And I understand why people go to Costco. You get everything in bulk, man. You get like survival, doomsday preppers, you know?
Yeah. You save more money buying bulk. Yeah, Costco's quality. Yeah, their stuff is quality too. It's not like junk. It's not like I don't know, Walmart. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Everything was just too big though. Like it's for like families. I'm just one dude.
Yeah, that's
So
why I
like
don't go.
you can
It's
buy like a big salad, like a pre-built salad for like $10. I was just
yeah,
like, bro, am I gonna eat salad every day for like 2 weeks? Like what the fuck?
yeah. It's
Because they same thing with the lunch meat. They gave you like three huge containers of like salami,
it's a
and I
lot
got it
of
one
fucking.
time. It lasted me like a month, and I got sick and tired of salami after like 3 days. I was like, fuck, I gotta eat all this shit. I gotta eat a salami sandwich every day.
Dude, I can eat all those pizzas in 2 days. I probably could too. I love pizza. And
Pizza.
they said you were mixing Dr. Oetker and Giuseppe's. Guess I don't know how to pronounce any of these
Yeah.
things.
Giuseppe's is like the one I was
Giuseppe's,
thinking
yeah.
of. It's like $5-6. You can also get like Hawaiian, but I never buy that, so it's whatever.
Yeah.
There's only like 4 or 5 kinds the guy actually or like they sell. So it's like deluxe, meat lovers, Hawaiian, cheese, and pepperoni. And I'm like, bitch, if I'm paying the same amount of money, I might as well get deluxe because it comes with like chicken on it and stuff like that. Or no, meat lovers comes with like the sausage and all this stuff. I haven't had a cheese pizza in like 15 years.
Yeah, I very rarely get cheese. I got a
So I'm like,
friend.
I need some stuff on there. I need
Yeah.
some like bell peppers, onions, pepperoni, sausage, bacon, uh, something. You know, when it's just cheese, I'm like, this is kind of just plain. Cause I cooked pasta yesterday and I made it for 2 dinners. So yesterday, my mom gave me some like sauce, but it had mold on it, so I couldn't use it. So I cried. I had one tear. I was like, I can't eat this like
Yeah.
pasta sauce because there's mold. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
So my mom gave me instead cheese sauce, and I put the cheese sauce on top of the pasta, and it tasted like depressing mac and cheese.
Oh, so it didn't taste good.
It didn't taste good. So I was
Oh,
just
that's
like, this
sad.
is bad. I'm
Yeah.
sad. So then today, my brother told me he had some pasta and or like the sauce in like a cupboard because I don't know what he buys, right? So I don't know. So I just put it on there, dude.
Yeah.
Way better, way better. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like a
You're
9 out of
making me
10.
so
The
hungry.
cheese sauce was like a 6 out of 10. What the
Yeah.
hell?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, did anyone have any more questions for Rebel? We've been talking about food for like 40 minutes, which I'm very happy about. I can talk about food all day and all
Food's
that.
good. Food's good for you.
Food's good for you. Well, not eggs for you,
Yeah, not
apparently.
eggs. No eggs allowed. Yeah.
Only reason I didn't keep my Costco membership from when I worked there is because shopping for one couldn't make
Wait,
bulk buying make sense. As data.
wait. It's like 100 and what, $20 a year for
I
membership or
don't
some
know. I
shit.
think it's something like that.
And you can get a guest. So I just go with my dad because my dad has a membership,
Yeah.
and then I'm his guest. But
Hey,
here's, you
kitty.
know what the bullshit part is? When I go to Costco, they don't take Visa.
What?
They don't take Visa. They only take MasterCard.
Wait, is that true? Wait, can someone else confirm
Yeah.
that?
No, that's
Costco
true. I
Costco
went to
doesn't take
pay.
Visa? What?
No, so you have to pay with debit, cash, or MasterCard. And I don't have any money in my debit card. I use my credit
What?
card for everything. So I was like, I was like, oh, can I use my credit card? It's Visa.
I
And they were
did
like,
not.
Visa? We
Get
don't
out the
take
fuck
that.
out of
I was
here.
like, get out of here. Get out of my store. And I was like,
What?
oh, shit.
I've never heard of a single location on Earth that doesn't take Visa.
That's true. So my dad
Yeah.
had to pay, and I had to pay him back. It's
That's
cringe.
weird.
Yep.
I,
Yeah,
I
so I
don't
have
know
to
to
go to
say
a bank.
that.
I have to make a new bank account at some point and get
Just
a
to go to
Mastercard.
Costco.
Yeah, I have to open up another bank account, some other bank that does Mastercard. Like, what the fuck?
That's so ridiculous, huh? I
Yep.
don't know.
They're about to throw me out. They're
Throw
like,
you get
you
the what
can't.
the
They're
the
like, you
fuck
can't pay
are.
for this. And I was like, no, my dad's there. And he's like, oh, my dad's like, man, I have to pay for this because that's separate cards.
Good night,
And then
Spitbugs. Yeah.
so he just told me how much I owed him, and then he transferred it.
I thought
But
everyone took
yeah.
Discover card. I do not have a Discover card. But
I'm Canadian. Okay, what do
do
you mean
they
by Discover?
Oh, do they not have that up there? That's what that
I don't
guy
know.
said. Discover is like it's like Visa, MasterCard, but it's not as accepted really by anyone.
Oh,
It's
I don't
pretty.
know. I just use my bank card, like
Yeah, you can
credit card.
actually do that in Canada. Like you can use your debit card, like no Visa, no MasterCard. It's just
Yeah, you can use your
debit
debit.
card.
I just didn't have any money in my debit card. I didn't
Yeah.
have $140 on my debit card, so I'm not gonna overdraft. That'd be dumb.
That would be dumb.
I just don't have any money in my debit card. Everything's on my PayPal. So like I
Yeah,
can't
it's
show up on my
really.
PayPal and be like, yeah,
Let me
use
PayPal you.
let me PayPal you some, let me cash app some money real quick. They can be like, get the hell out of my store. So I just use my credit card for everything, and I get cash
Same.
back on my credit card. I get 0.1% back on every purchase. I've used my credit card for 5 years. I have $100
Hey, Perry.
on the cash back.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Discover cards are when you find someone else's wallet and use it to buy things. You don't do
Oh,
that.
true, man.
I
Real and
guess
true.
I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
so.
Yeah,
I
bro.
guess so. Um. So yeah, our guest tonight was that one rebel,
Yep.
and
True and real.
true and real. Does anyone have any final questions for rebel? I think I might. call it soon.
Okay.
That interviewer guy.
Yeah, that's me.
That's. Thanks for coming on. This was really fun.
Of course.
I had a really fun time talking
I get
about
to be
it.
interviewed for once.
You get to be
Nice.
interviewed for once.
Yeah,
it
it's
was nice
also true.
talking
Yeah,
to you.
I've
It's
waited
funny.
many years for this.
Have you not been interviewed? You must have been interviewed. I mean, Jade's you said interviewed.
Technically, yes. Jades did interview me, but she didn't really do research. She was just
You didn't really
asking
do a
me
good job.
she was asking me like, what did you do for Father's Day? And like
Yeah.
random stuff.
It's an interesting question.
It was very just random.
Yeah.
The other prime I've ever been interviewed was Puck.
Yeah, that guy said you're on Puck Show. Yeah. Those are short, though. Those are like 30 minutes or something.
That's right. It was like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So that was basically it. That's the only time I've ever been interviewed. And I was like, damn. And then I asked another person to interview me, and they said, well, I don't really do that. It was Fia. She runs the virtual reality show.
Bunny, yeah, I love Fia. Yeah.
She has her own world, and I said like, do you do interviews? And she's like, oh, it's not. I don't really do like a show just for one person. It's for like a concept. You know what I mean? Like, we're showing off a movie or like a production or something like that. And then like the interview's like the afterthought, where it's just like after like, the movie, we'll interview like the director or something. We don't just run a show just for one guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I cried.
Nah.
One single tear after that. Yeah.
Well, here we go. That was an awesome interview. I had a really good time. No interview. Shut up, Kitty. Yeah. Did anyone any last questions? This was a cool stream. I'm glad you guys. A lot of people seem to really like hearing about your life and hearing about you die about a million times.
Yeah. Listen, Kitty DVR, you're pretty cool, okay? You're sexy. I saw those photos on Twitter.
You know Kitty DVR? They are a very sexy person.
Yeah, you should look at my Twitter.
IRL, too.
Listen, every Monday is Mommy Monday. Every Tuesday is Titty Tuesday. Wednesday is Wiggle Wednesday. Thursday is Thigh Thursday or Tummy Thursday. And Friday is Fat Ass Friday.
Every day there's a day on Twitter for sexy pics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen,
hey,
it's
Kimmy.
true and real, okay? Every Wednesday, you got to do Wiggle Wednesday. You got to shake those hips.
Yeah. True.
Post to
A
Twitter.
lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Mommy Wednesday's still up, says Ninkasi. Nice. Hi, taking care.
Wiggle Wednesdays. So I went from a talk show host to I wiggle on Wednesdays.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Every day's a good day to shake your ass.
True.
Hey, man, that's kind of true.
Yeah.
Time to post wiggles on Wednesdays. Don't you do that, Kitty? Doesn't everyone do that here except me?
Yeah, weren't you gonna do it, huh? You gotta do Wiggle Wednesdays.
It's not my thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
My mom looks at my Twitter, dude.
My mom doesn't know my mom encourages what I do. Okay, let's just say that.
She does too, but she doesn't. I don't think I'd feel comfortable.
My mom knows I'm a model. Okay.
Yeah, is that what you told her? Is that you said I'm a model?
She knows I'm a talk show host.
And then, that's cool.
And then I showed her my model, my avatar. My mom doesn't. My parents are really old. They're in their 60s.
Yeah.
So like they don't understand the internet and shit like that.
Fair.
They barely function a computer. But I showed them my model a couple years ago. My mom was like, "Damn, she got some fat ass titties." Mom's like, damn, that other character's got some huge boobs. Is that how you get your money? I understand now. I was like, damn.
Man,
real
mom
and
call
true.
yeah, real and true, mom.
Yeah. And then my mom texts me and tells me, "Oh, son, you should get." She says like, my mom's like, "How do you like? Can you like dress up your character in like different outfits?" I was like, "Yeah." My mom's like, "Oh, I have an idea for you. How to get a lot of viewers." I was like, "Okay, so what's your idea?" My mom's like, "Oh, I should get like a schoolgirl outfit. That's all the dirty old men want. All the horny old men want."
She's not wrong. Your mom.
Yeah, I haven't got that outfit yet.
Too real.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I told my mom that I'm a part-time model.
Yeah.
So she's like, "What does that mean?" And I said, "Oh, I pose in VR and I take pictures and then post them on my ass." And then
Yeah.
she's like, "Do you get paid?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Okay, good for you."
Mom with the best advice. 7, yeah.
Yeah.
Good for her. Good for you. That's cool. That's great that they're supportive, though. Yeah. You get paid. Where's my cut? Says
Yes.
Tiger.
Yeah. Where's my cut? Where's my cut? Yeah. My mom says if I'm a millionaire one day, she's like, "You better pay me some money."
Yeah, that's fair. Rebel's mom
Yeah.
just reading folks for filth out here. I mean, that generation, they know. They're all,
Listen, my mom just wants me to succeed, so on my future outfit is gonna be a schoolgirl outfit with a nice skirt. It's gonna have
yeah,
fishnets and it's gonna have thigh highs. That's the wombo combo right there.
that is a wombo combo.
Plus,
That's,
plus the Wiggle Wednesdays. I better get like at least 1,000 likes on that one. You know what I'm saying? Sheesh. On
yeah,
Twitter. Yeah, that's my future. I got a new swimsuit. It's too powerful.
it's too powerful.
Unless I'm in body of water, which I'm not
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. Get
Yeah,
banned. It's that
well,
powerful.
I mean, I don't want to get you banned, is what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say.
okay, that's fair. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man,
So
could
I was showing
you?
it. Yeah, I've been showing it the last couple of days of my stream. Every day is Wiggle Wednesday, Wiggle days, Mommy Mondays. That was yesterday. I was wiggling. Everybody was like, "Damn, Rebel!" They're like pulling out the binoculars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh shit.
Oh
So
shit.
yeah.
Oh man, could you even interview your mom on your stream? Would you ever interview your mom on your
Oh my
stream?
God, Jesus. Holy crap, dude.
I would definitely watch that for sure. Tune in for
Oh
that.
man, I don't
You're
know,
just like, I
man. I
don't
don't
know.
know, man.
What
How
would
the
you even
my parents
say?
don't even they don't
Yeah, I
even
don't even know what
they
VR
can't even
is,
use VR. If
right?
they use VR, they get a heart attack and fall over and die. Like they put the headset and be like, "Ooh," and like seize
Just
up.
explode.
Maybe when I'm a
Oh no.
desktopper, yeah, maybe when I'm in the desktop interviewer, I'll do that.
That'd be a lot
And I'll just
easier. They could be
yeah, it'll be a
like
lot
on a
easier. I'll just be talking to
FaceTime or
myself. They're like,
something.
"Who's on the couch?" You just hear a voice off in the distance. But that's
Yeah.
my mom.
Yeah. Just put a picture or something. An avatar.
But that's my mom.
Has she ever? So she's seen your like model, but has she ever seen like a VRChat stream or like a?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
no. Never,
It'd be
never
too
watched me
much.
on stream. She says she doesn't. She's just too busy. And I never told her what my account was anyway. So,
You never told her the account either.
well, I don't want her
All
to
right.
watch. I'd be like, "What are you doing, son? Like, son, why are you shaking your ass like that? What the hell's?"
Yeah, I kind of regret telling anyone in my family about my Twitch handle, but it's too late now.
Yeah, yeah. All they care about is like, how much money do you make this month? Make
Yeah.
more money. I'm like, I gotta shake my ass more. They're like, okay, get back to shaking your ass. That's basically what
That's
they're like.
true. It's true.
They're like, post more pictures,
Did
more
they say
pictures, more
that?
pictures.
More pictures
Yeah.
of you and your.
They're like, did you
Wow.
post another picture today? I was like, no. They're like, what are you doing?
They want
I'm
you
like,
on that grind.
yeah, they're on, yeah, they're the one on the grind. So if anyone ever questions me while I'm taking pictures every day, my mom told me to, okay? They don't know what the pictures are. They said they don't want to see
Man.
them. They're like, son, I don't want to
Oh,
see
I don't want to see
they're like,
them.
I
I
don't
don't
want to
want
know what
to
you're doing. They know what the photos contain, but they're like,
know. We don't want to
I
see
don't want
it.
to. They're like, I don't want those images in my brain when I go to sleep and I picture you as that anime woman in that particular pose.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah. All they care about is nice paycheck. Where's my cut? that's
Yeah.
that's the only part they care about. Everything else is like they're like as long as it's not illegal. And I'm like, I'm just taking pictures. It's not illegal.
Um. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I have to get going. I can't. I gotta.
I
Gotta get,
gotcha.
yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. Can everyone give
Of
a round
course.
of applause for some hearts in the chat for Rebel? If Bob, can you
Flappers.
shout out Rebel for me, or I will. Anyone can shout him out for me.
Yeah, this
Exclamation
entire time
point
I
or
didn't look
good.
at chat once. No, I will.
Yeah. No, thank you. Please, please, please go give them a follow.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Parents don't want Rebel to become an anime woman.
Good interview, girls. Thank you,
Well,
Jacob.
well, I mean, my mom did ask. So when my mom did, or my mom's more of the one in the family that knows what I do. My dad's just like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Uh, my mom is like, when she saw my character, she's like, do you try to sound like a woman? I was like, no.
Yeah.
She's like, she's like, I don't get it. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, so if like you play a hot like cartoon, they don't say anime because I don't know what that means. They're like, so you're like a cartoon, but you're a man. I don't get it. So
Yeah.
like, do people know that you're a guy and you have a fat wiener? And I'm like, yep,
Yep.
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 And my mom's like,
I
I don't
don't
get it. I don't get this generation. I was like,
I love our
yeah, me
generation.
neither.
I love our generation. Love
The
your
dick
little
makes
good
it
interview,
better.
girls. Thank you for being on.
Of
Please
course.
check him out. That one Rebel. And what you got coming up? You got coming up your fashion show and your showcase.
Avatar Showcase,
Nice.
in July, but probably next week I'll have some interviews. I'm just
Cool.
DMing people
Cool.
currently.
Right on.
So we'll get some interviews going, some playing time in May. We'll hopefully get that work on that character sheet. So I'm gonna get a character sheet, and then eventually the model, the 2D model rigging, all that jazz. So right now I'm just talking to an artist. So basically the idea is it's gonna be the same character, so don't worry. I'm not like, oh boy, I'm suddenly an anime femboy or something. Like no, it's the same character but just different outfit. It's gonna be like a black pinstripe with like a red tie and like gold trim or something like that. Some garter belts. Basically, it looks like a dummy mommy. They'll push you down on the bed and interview you intently.
Okay. Fog.
Yeah, pog.
Bikini month too, says Dad Kai. Apparently bikini month too.
Oh yeah. Every day is bikini day on my stream. Yeah. Yeah.
Bad.
Listen. You gotta have at least 2 inches of water around you, and then you can be
Is
in a
that the
swimsuit.
rule? Okay, I didn't know
I
the
don't know.
rule. Okay.
I don't
You
know.
I don't know.
As long
I
as,
don't know.
as long as you have water around you, then you can be in a swimsuit. That's the rules. The
Alright,
moment you
good to
take that
know.
toe out of that water and you're on the video player, you get banned. I
And
know
be
this
safe
because
on
there's
Twitch, huh?
been 14 people that have suspended from VRChat since December.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah. Just have water. Just spawn a jacuzzi on this bed right now, and then you can be in a swimsuit.
We've seen too many people get banned already. That is true. I know some people myself have gotten banned. It's sucks.
Yeah.
So let's do a raid or something. And once again, thank you, Rebel, coming on. Please spam the link again, Bob, if you can.
Spam. Use your Twitch Prime gaming
Use your
sub.
Twitch Prime gaming sub
on
too.
O-Girls. Get
Alright,
them the
good to
hype
know.
train. Yep, true and real.
Alright, good. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are amazing. I'll be back either tomorrow or Thursday. I don't know. Something like that.
Tomorrow's Wednesday, so Wiggle Wednesday for me.
Wiggle Wednesday. Yeah, Wiggle Wednesday. Check out Wiggle Wednesday. And
Yep.
I'll be back later this week. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out. I'm just thinking who I want to raid. Do you know anyone? Do you want to raid anyone?
Let's see who's streaming.
I can raid someone too, but
I just usually go from, I don't know. Do you have any friends?
I do. Yeah, no, I have people I want to raid, but sometimes I'll ask the person that comes on.
I don't mind. You can raid whoever you would like to raid.
Okay.
I don't have any preference. I usually just raid people from VRChat or
Yeah, I was gonna raid
from
my
VTuber
friend,
friends. That's
Zach,
basically
or,
it.
I want to stand up here.
Bye chat.
Oh,
I love you.
there. I don't know where the fuck I am on screen right now. Fuck. Oh, there. Thank you for the follow, Catharis. Let's just raid. I was gonna raid Sakura because she's, like the best. So.
Alright.
Saint Sakura. We're gonna raid my friend Saint Sakura. She is super, super comfy, and I figure you guys will be super comfy there. Thanks again to Rebel for being on here. Let me give them one final shout out. Thank you everyone for being here. I love you. Taken Pair, Catharist, Real, Evan Skyheart. Thank you so much for the 5 subs again. Ninkasi, Kimmy Cat, you're amazing, and I need to shout you out too before I go. Yeah, please check out Rebel's channel. They do interviews. They're doing a Wiggle Wednesday tomorrow, and they're they're a big inspiration of mine. So please, please, please go give them some support. I'm about to raid Saint Sakura. She is one of the sweetest, comfiest people I know, and she's wiggling. Don't forget to end. Fuck. Thank you for reminding me. And is super amazing and sweet. Here's if you don't have my emotes or whatever. Sorry, I'm like... And this is if you do have my emotes. And I'll be back either tomorrow or Thursday. I love you guys. Send her some love. Go follow Rebel. Have a good night.
Bye
I love you
bye.
guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.